adventures on a live stream with a man who has a brain. Super Chuffer is the one with the things to say. He makes some really good videos so you can watch them play. Fun adventures on a live stream far away. Super Chuffer is the best. He's obviously the best. We got Resolute Sleep Supper. Super Chuffer is the best. Never unnoticed, no, it's the best. He's obviously the best. We got Resolute Sleep Supper. Would I notice? No, it's the best. Oh, guitars can cry their breaking hearts. We will have adventures. Fun adventures on a live stream with a man who has a brain. Super Chuffer is the one with the things to say. He makes some really good videos so you can watch them play. Fun adventures on a live stream far away. Super Chuffer is the best. He is obviously the best. On a roll of him is them supper. Super Chuffer is the best. Chuffer, 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 chuffer,
Battery 80%.
I was going to turn the lights on in the background, but I can't find the remote control. We are living in 2025. Is that possible in 2025? You still can't find the remote control? Shouldn't it all be on your phone now or something? An app for that. Find my remote control. Chuffy, 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 chuffy. Let's put the relaxing background music on. There you go. You can relax to that. It's lounge goth music this month. Well, it's been different, but we've got Halloween month now. So, like, I don't know, like, I guess we should dress the set for Halloween. You got the Halloween pictures. Big up you in chat. Big up you in chat. Hey, you haven't chatted yet, you nutters. There we are, look. There's the skeleton. The pumpkin. And that's Halloween. I should really get a Halloween-y sort of t-shirt for that, shouldn't I? I don't even know if I've got one, to be honest. We've got a snowman. Oosh, that's next month, isn't it? So what we're doing today, we're doing Ghislaine Maxwell. We're continuing with her Bombshell DOJ interview. Bombshell. Bombshell. Explosive. West Coast shit. Do you remember that? Explosive. West Coast shit. First person in chat to tell me who that is. Tell me who did that rap. Explosive. West Coast shit. Jog my memory. And I've got I've got a tip. I've got a hot. Listen, some people might be cross. I said last week, if we get 50 likes on this stream, I'll do Peter Folding by the end of the week. Peter Folding did 2 huge long streams. I did record them both, and we didn't get 50 likes on the stream, so fuck you. But I don't want to do an 8-hour react to Peter Folding's nonsense. I don't. Peter Folding. I know we do conspiracy theories and stuff, don't we? Oh, we're YouTubers. Come up with different ideas and investigate them and that. But Peter Folding, in my opinion, is now a conspiracy theorist. He's now on the internet, on some very spurious places, saying some very strange things. He's got a conspiracy theory. So he can join the ranks of people like Richard D. Hall and whomever else in the future, can't he? With his conspiracy theories. I do have some help for him. I want to make a video about it, really. I just think it's better that I make it a video, make it nice and concise, make it nice and clean. But it's quite a big topic, actually. It's quite a lot to get through. He said some very interesting things about things. So we'll have a look in the future. We will. There is time enough to finish this game of bowls and defeat the Spanish Armada as well. Or was it the other way around? Was it defeat the Spanish Armada and finish the game of bowls? There's time enough. But I do want to show you... let me get rid of... I've got a button here for it. There you go. This is my Twitter. If you want my Twitter now, it's locked at the moment. Ooh. You got to be my friend. This is helping Peter Folding with his investigation. Look. Helping Peter Folding with his... I'm helping. Look. I found this photograph of... the search people at the island where he says that Nicola Bulley was. Look. So can you see it? Is that... What's that? Today's about Ghislaine Maxwell. We are partway through her interview. We've got another couple of hours to go on that. Literally a couple of hours. And there's some news on Ghislaine Maxwell today. Well, yesterday actually, but you know. US Supreme Court rejects Ghislaine Maxwell appeal in Epstein case. The US Supreme Court has rejected an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell against her sex trafficking conviction. Without providing an explanation, the court declined to hear the former socialite's appeal, which means a 20-year sentence will remain in place, barring a presidential pardon. So she's still in the spa holiday luxury, the prison in Florida, and she's not getting her appeal. It's not that they've denied it because they've listened to it and they said, no, that's not good enough. It's that they just won't hear it. They declined to hear the former British socialite's appeal. So I don't know what that means for the future. I mean, maybe she can appeal again, I don't know. But they declined to hear it. But Donald Trump apparently had something to say about it.
Its term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and said that they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not...
The journalist has apparently explained to it like he doesn't know. He hasn't heard her name in so long. What, since a couple of months ago when she did that interview? God, the news moves so quick, doesn't it? Like, everything moves so quick, but I'm glad we're covering it.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of
Puff Daddy's asked him for a pardon. He just threw that out there in connection with Ghislaine Maxwell asking for a pardon. Puff Daddy.
child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
There you go. He didn't know. He's going to have to take a look at it, though. He'll speak to the DOJ about it. He'll take a look at it. A bit weird, isn't it? Like, why would you speak to them? Why would you take a look at it if you're not going to offer her a pardon? Like, he's just being a bit vague, isn't he? But the name came up, and he said that he'd take a look. Like this journalist has said to him, oh, by the way, did you know Ghislaine Maxwell was looking for a pardon? He's like, no, I had no idea, actually. Absolutely no idea. Glad you brought it up. I'll put it on my to-do list. It's not the exact way that came across, but, you know, if I were Donald Trump, I'd probably stay away from pardoning people like Ghislaine Maxwell. But then I'm not Donald Trump, am I? So what's going on with my lighting today? Catching a shadow where I don't usually catch a shadow. It's annoying me. Doesn't really matter, but like we spent a lot of time and effort putting this right. Oh, that one's knocked over. Ah. Is that it? Now the telly's gone off. Good. Stop being knocked over. That is better. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on.
To the DOJ, I'll look at it.
Shut up, you. Let's go on with what she's saying then. When we left it, she was saying some stuff. If I don't crack on, we'll never get there.
So why don't we stop?
Didn't do with that as you stand.
They took a
I would like
break.
to give it to you
Sure.
for what it's worth.
Okay.
Does that seem something that I
Yeah,
can?
that's fine. Yeah. Of
I,
course.
I don't like.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's great. Okay. So why don't we stop for today? I'll give you a little bit of time to chat, and then see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
This will conclude the recorded
This will
proper
conclude the
interview
recorded
for Thursday, July 24th. We will
July
continue
24th.
tomorrow, Friday, July 25th. The time is 3:34.
3:34.
Good morning. Today
He's very New York, isn't it, his voice? Is that New York? I don't know.
is Friday, July 25th. The time is 9:24 a.m. My name is Spencer R. Horn. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI New York, and we are here for a recorded proffer agreement with Ms. Maxwell.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Maxwell. How are you?
Good morning.
Big ups ACW, big ups DC Primetime, big ups Joe Boy. Shouts out Auntie K. Hey, Snips. If you're driving, be careful.
Good. So the proffer agreement we signed yesterday, I just there's a place on it for us to all kind of initial. It's exactly the same document, and you'll see your
This is alive, Joe. I'm right here. I'm talking. It's alive.
signature.
It's alive!
If you can just initial right to the left of right here, right there, and then Mr. Marcus will. Yes.
Hey, big ups Mind of the North Star. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Thank you. Can I do that as well? I used to be able to gift memberships here, didn't I? Let's have a look. Show support for Super Chuffer, Super Stickers. I can't gift members. It's a bit weird. Maybe it's because I've not been on for a little while. We're back, though, anyway. Thank you very much, Mind of the North Star. I'll grab a button for you. What kind of button would you like? Let's go with the classic. Well, let's go with this classic. I know which classic I want for this.
Because you'd be in jail.
Classic.
Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail.
Classic.
I can't take it anymore!
Initial as well. Thank you. And just to kind of, before we get going, I'll just say that exactly the same folks that were here when we met yesterday are here too.
Alan's got his court case on this month, Joe. Alan's money bit of the court case, they'll read out what happened with the money, and we'll definitely be covering that. And we'll be seeing, yeah. I've got to get back into streaming. I've got editing to do as well on the flip side. Still trying to make some content that I'm editing. And we've got the Peter Folding video now to throw into that mix. So, I've got to get into the flow, get into the routine, get into the rhythm. And, yeah.
Today, so there's no, I'm not going to do formal introductions because it's exactly the same group of folks.
There's a pic of John Bennett Ramsey with a woman who looks like Maxwell. I think I've seen something about that, yeah. I think I might have seen something like that. The cat's going now because, of course, I'm streaming. So people will be watching saying, he keeps pausing it and talking. We never get to hear Ghislaine Maxwell talking. I'll let her talk now for a good 5 minutes before I pause it unless she says something really controversial. How does that sound?
So we're continuing, Miss Maxwell, our discussion of yesterday, and the same kind of rules apply. We'll take breaks. If you need to talk to Mr. Marcus or your lawyers, absolutely no problem. Just let me know. I'll try to ask my questions in a coherent manner, but if there's anything that I say that's confusing, definitely interrupt me.
I will. Thank you.
So I think the easiest thing to start with is there anything that we talked about yesterday that we're going to go through some more names. I think that that's one of the places that we interrupted just because there's a lot of names. But aside from additional names, is there anything that you wanted to kind of follow up on that we talked about yesterday, or anything that you thought maybe you remember more of or not?
Some more names did come to me in the night, and I did have some additional memories.
That's convenient, isn't it? You were given the night off to talk to your lawyers and I don't know who else, and then you got a list more names. They come to you in the night, so sleep helps your memory.
Just for clarity, I believe I said that I couldn't think of anybody who...
Welcome to member. Mind of the North Star. Thank you very much for that.
who I may have asked from Mar-a-Lago, but then I realised that I was, the allegation at least is that I met in Mar-a-Lago, so I felt that I needed to address that, and I didn't want to leave that hanging because that seems weird under the circumstances. And also, but I couldn't remember anyone, and that maybe it was a long period of time. So the issue is not that I'm trying to not say, but I just don't remember anybody that I would have. But it's not impossible that I might have asked someone from that.
I don't know exactly what you said yesterday, but I don't think what you said yesterday is different than what you just said. So yes.
Okay. I just wanted to be. I just didn't want to feel that I had said no to something and that it didn't.
Definitely has said that she was working at Mar-a-Lago and that you received a treatment from her at some point, and that you...
She was very cautious then to say, I didn't want to accidentally say something that can be proved to be a lie. And she's been doing that all the way along. Like, we are obviously 4 hours into the 6. Quite a few times she said, I'll say this, but it might not, you could prove it with a picture, or I'm sure there's a picture out there that proves it, or maybe you'd be able to cross. She won't say something if she thinks it can be proven to be wrong. But it worries me about the things that can't be proven, that she's quite happy to say.
Recruited her to meet Mr. Epstein.
Like, she's worried she might have said something. They go and cross-check the facts and find out she's lying. So she's very cautious about that.
Know affirmatively whether that's true or false, or do you just not have a memory either way?
I really don't believe it's true, but I know that I did go to spas, and if I met someone, I did ask if they're home. So I don't. It in the realms of possibility, it could have, but I have no memory of it, and I don't believe that it's how it went down. But I don't want to.
Okay, so I want to talk about. We talked a little bit yesterday about the financial part of your relationship with Mr. Epstein, kind of being on payroll, for lack of a better word, for many, many years, starting around $25,000 and ending up at around $250,000 per year. There's, as you know from your trial, there's banking information that shows a ton of money being sent to you from Mr. Epstein over the years. In I think totaling something like $30 million, something like this. What's the why was that money sent to you? Like, what was that for?
The houses, obviously. Had to pay the maids, had to pay the masseuse, I had to pay the We had someone come in and clean the windows. Imagine a £30 million bill that you have to try and write off on the. Oh yeah, I've got receipts for that. I swear, we had business lunch one of the days at McDonald's that ran into quite a pretty penny. I tell you, they had 2 value meals and a fillet of fish. They were £30 million. Oh, £30 million.
Well, first of all, I dispute the characterization that the money was sent.
Okay, so tell me what I am stuck with the witnesses at trial and what was said at trial on that issue. So what is the what do you dispute about that?
Well, I believe I don't have full recollection. I'm not even sure I ever saw what they accused me of, but my belief is that money also contained money that was for a helicopter, for instance, that I never owned and I was never mine. And
in other words, money was sent to you that you then used to purchase things, or?
Well, I'm not even sure that I purchased it. So the accounts, those accounts would be controlled by his account.
I don't even know if I really spent the money. Like, could it count as me spending the money if he sent me the money and it was in my account that was controlled by him, that was part of our business empire? What do you mean sent me the money? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's still his money in his account. I don't know. We should just move past this £30 million. It's just a little, £30 million here and there, isn't it?
Accountants.
Even accounts in your name, you're saying, or one of your entities.
Well, I'm not even sure I knew of all the entities. Maybe I did contemporaneously, but I simply wouldn't know today. So if there was an entity, let's say account X, if I really set that up myself, or whether they said we're doing this and the money's coming or whatever, but in no substantive way, I can't think of the right word.
Did you have control over?
I had no control, is what I'm saying.
So when the government, when there was testimony or the government admitted evidence that showed, for example, $5 million in 2002 coming from Epstein to you, okay, what you're saying is that happened, but that the you there wasn't money, that he wasn't giving you money.
I'm not going to say that for everything, because maybe there were accounts that money was sent to me, but I can say that I know, like the helicopter, I can definitively say. I'd have to look at all of them to be accurate for you, but to explain how or why I could...
Can't really remember buying the helicopter. I know it's just a little while ago now. The helicopter turned up. I can't remember being on the helicopter. I remember being on the helicopter, I think. But did we buy it, or... I don't know. I'd have to ask Jeff. Oh, he's dead. Oh, well. I suppose that's lost to time.
You receiving monies, and I certainly did, so I'm not disputing all of it.
But when you said, let's go back to look at why did money have to go into your accounts, or account that was controlled by others but in your name, to like purchase a helicopter?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that.
I told you I'd let her play. I didn't know she was going to do this. So that's a very good question. Did you buy the helicopter? What happened to the £30 million? I'm not really sure. Is it behind the sofa? You lost your remote control earlier. That's similar. You don't know where your remote control is. I don't know what happened with the helicopter.
So let me ask this maybe a different way that gets to the issue, right? So the accusation by the government, based upon the evidence they collected, is that Epstein paid you millions and millions of dollars over the years. And the reason why he paid you that is because you were performing an extraordinary service for him by recruiting young women, many of whom were underage, so that he could sexually abuse them. Okay, that's their allegation. Okay.
Not okay. Didn't the DOJ just play into the hands of, like... I think the point is that what they've been saying... Whoa, am I so loud? Whoa. Am I so loud the whole time? 1 2 check Chuffy 1 2. I've been really loud the whole time. 1 2 check Chuffy 1 2. I was recording something yesterday. Stupid me. I was recording something yesterday. I was using the mic in a different purpose. I'm really sorry about that. It is what it is. 1 2 check Chuffy 1 2. I've been really loud the whole time. I've got a limiter on, but I probably just came across like really loud. And I'm going to mess with the settings a little bit. Point is, right, that he just said, God, I just shouldn't distract you. He just said that you were getting the girls, the underage girl, you were getting the girls to give to Jeffrey Epstein so he could do sex on them. But no, that was one of the things. But wasn't he trafficking them? Isn't the whole thing like, you know, you were done for trafficking. Who were you trafficking the girls to? And it's this list, and we want to know who's on the list because they had the girls trafficked to them. And if they had girls trafficked to them, they did bad sex on the girls. So they're on the list, they're bad people. This is what we want to get to. But the DOJ has just said, basically, you got the girls, Ghislaine, you gave them to Jeffrey Epstein, and that's where it ends. So let's move on with this story. And like they put it on the record in that way. Like, no, that's not what's supposed to be going on here. Is what's supposed to be going? Oh, the sound's all right, is it? All right, fair enough. What's supposed to be going on here is that we want to know the list because we believe. Oh, now you're meowing at me now. You just meowed to come in. All right. Go on then. Oosh. So like the point there that I think we should highlight is that the DOJ there just played into the hands of that. Do I want to call it a conspiracy theory? I don't know what we want to call it. Like the idea that Epstein's trafficking ended with Epstein, which seems ridiculous. Like I thought it was all about trafficking, and he was doing like you know that photograph of him, and then there's the other people that were. They just got away with that one.
Whom were underage to so that he could sexually abuse them. Okay, that's their allegation. Okay.
No, and traffic them.
From what you said yesterday and from what I've reviewed about you and Mr. Epstein, he paid for a lot in your life. Your flights, where you stayed with him. I mean, he didn't expect you to reimburse him along the way for food, and so he took care of you for many years.
That is true.
On top of that, he actually paid you a salary, as we talked about, $25,000 to $250,000. What else did he give you, or what purchase? Like, was there a time when he gave you $1 million or $500,000 as a bonus, or what financial benefit did you receive from him? Besides what we've already talked about, we don't have to talk about what
I got it.
Okay.
So my goal always was to become independent, independently financially secure, and work for myself. I've never been one to not work. And in that regard, over the course of my friendship and my working relationship with Epstein, I expressed to him my desire to be independent of him everywhere, just to be freestanding. And with that in mind, I wanted to have my own businesses or my own money coming in, independent and separate from any salary that I received from him. And I needed that for my self-esteem. I've never been, obviously salary, and it was a very generous one. Please, I'm not belittling the sum of money because it's huge, but I was brought up to work, and I was brought up to be my own, the first time. So I would either propose businesses to him, or he would actually suggest, why didn't I do something?
This is weird. I know I'm pausing her in mid-flow again, but this is weird. She said, I was brought up to work and be my own, and then she just stopped. She didn't want to continue down that path. But it completely contradicts what she said earlier about, basically being completely, her dad, Robert Maxwell, the boat, losing everything, going to America, getting in with Jeffrey Epstein, who basically, gave her loads of money. She was working for him. What she said there sort of contradicts that a little bit. But then earlier she did say as well about being an explorer and about setting up all these projects and being a submarine captain and so there's definitely two strange different sides to Ghislaine. One that she wants to present where she's this subordinate who's just done things because she's just sort of being pushed around by this bad man whom she didn't really know and she's just trying to do wallpaper. And another where she's almost like as capable as James Bond. So that was a contradiction in terms that she just brought up there. Like she's this super independent, runs her own shit thing, but also is completely dependent on Jeffrey Epstein and has to maintain her position under him, even though she sort of falls out of love with him. And
The first deal that we did, or the first business that we had, or I had, and that he financed for me. So he loaned me all the money to enable me to do this, and then I...
Shut up. You're so independent and such a, you have to work and do things for yourself. The first business that I set up, Jeffrey gave me all of the money to do it.
Reap the profits, which I don't remember now, because we varied over the deals that we did, that I would give him 50% or 25%. It was sort of... It was random. And I can tell you what it is. So, so it was in Palm Beach, actually, and it was in real estate, and they sold what was the grounds originally of an estate called the Phipps Estate. And then they converted the land that came with that estate into houses. And I did, I think 2 or maybe 3, I can't remember now, but certainly 1 and maybe 2. Possibly 3, I don't think so, I think 2, that then were flipped and there was a profit. So
if you're doing a business and it's independent to Maxwell, is it? And he's going to take some of the profits, but you randomly allocate the profits. That doesn't sound right. How are you going to do your taxes? And then also, this sounds very Trumpian, like Donald Trump was like, he didn't have lots of money himself, but what he'd do is he'd leverage positions. So like a tower block would be built, other people's money, mortgages, loans, Trump's name would go on, they sell the properties, like people get their money back, he gets a cut sort of thing, but he never had to like pay the money to build the tower out of his own pocket. Do you know what I mean? And this is like a property development flip, right, that she's involved in. Doesn't sound like necessarily like a business that she set up for like a, I've come up with this business idea, Jeffrey. We're going to be doing property development and flips, and I've got this portfolio, and it just sounds like a thing that happened that he wanted to, like, these things come up, we can flip this. It's like it's almost like ducking and diving, isn't it? Wheeling and dealing, rather than a long-term business interest that she was interested in properties and development, and very vague on the financials. I don't know how you can get away with that. How you can say, I run a business, my primary investor gave me all the money for that, and then we bought property, like there's money involved, there's transactions, and then at the end of it I randomly allocate the profits as I see fit. Like I don't know, I'm not the tax guy, am I? But I bet they've got lawyers working on that. I don't think you're going to get they got Al Capone on the taxes. Some bad people get done on some sort of sideways little other laws, don't they, sometimes, but at least they get done. Like it might be one of those where like I wouldn't expect them to be open to being taken down for financial irregularities. I'd think they'd probably have that covered in their world, wouldn't they, somehow? But it just sounds dodgy.
Would be an example of that, but I didn't have the money, so he lent me the funds to do that business transaction, and then I reaped the profits.
And so, but when
millions of dollars.
When a financial investigator like the FBI looks at accounts, they don't know kind of the conversations you're having, they just see the money.
Right.
So in those cases when that happened, when he financed that with you, would he send money to you? So does that explain some of the money? Like
I think it does. I think, for instance, there were 2 Gullwing Mercedes that they did with Mercedes and Aston Martin. You can look up, I think, if I'm right, that had all the doors that would come up like this, that were only a very limited number that were made. So I knew that we could get those and flip them right within 24 hours, for example. Also,
How much is a Gullwing? Sorry, I know that we're trying to listen to her interview and stuff, but this is my brain, and this is why you watch my show. How much is a Gullwing Mercedes? Because, like, what is the fucking point? Like, something sounds wrong here. But they're probably like millions of pounds, aren't they? Gullwing Mercedes. $1.7 million. $1.7 million. That can't be right, can it? Okay, this is fair enough then. A Gullwing Mercedes. We're talking about a classic car. 1955. And they go for quite a pretty penny. I don't know off the top, like, this is, like, it's hard to say about Ghislaine, isn't it? Because maybe she does have some expertise in this area, and I would be naive to suggest that she just doesn't know what she's doing. But when you flip them, you're saying usually in car, I mean, we're talking about a lot of money here. We're not talking about a Ford Fiesta. But, like, when you flip them, you talk about, like, you know, you buy something a little more run down, and then you give it a paint job, you clean it up, you do the wheels, you know, some minor mechanicals. You're not going to be putting a new engine in and stuff. That's not the point of flipping it. The point is you do something minor and then it looks attractive to someone else. Or you know someone who collects them and just can't be asked to go and find them, and, you know, you can put a bit of profit on it. And at $1.7 million, you could knock it up to 2, you know, you could make a bit of profit. But my question initially was, why are we flipping cars? Like, let's say it was a normal car flip. I didn't expect it to be $1 million. But if it was a normal car flip and you were making somewhere around the region of like £10,000 to £20,000 anywhere in that region, it's not worth doing it for Epstein. It's just like a waste of time. Like, he deals with bigger financial deals. So this is worth it because, you know, you could make a couple of £100,000 on a car, but your outlay is like £1.5 million or something, depending on, you know, the cost of the cars and where she got them and stuff. Your outlay is still quite high, and, like, you know, you have to be able to do some work. I mean, you hand it to a mechanic, don't you, if you're Ghislaine? You don't sit there fucking polishing the wheels and changing the oil, do you? So you hand it on to your mechanic fixes it up, and you make a profit. But what you need to know is that you've got a buyer in line, and, I mean, she's socialite, isn't she? So she can find someone, oh, Prince Andrew loves these cars, I'll sell it to him or something, you know? I can see I can see it, I can see the scheme, but there is still something just a little bit strange about it, that you'd be looking to make $100,000, $200,000 on a deal where there's quite a bit of work and risk involved. You know, if you take that car into the garage and something breaks, or, you know, that car's worth $1.5 million, it has to be right. You know, like, you've already outlaid you're outlaying £1 million to try and make $100,000. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you love the cars and it's fun and, like, it's an easy flip, you know, they're sat in the garage in America and all you got to do is export them. Is it worth outlaying $1 million to make 100? Depending on, you know, depending on your margins, is it worth it? Like, it seems strange to me that she'd be getting into these sort of. It's almost like I said earlier about, you know, I said about the property. It sounded a bit like a wheeler dealer thing. Now it totally sounds like a wheeler dealer thing. Like, it sounds like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses, but only on a scale of, like, you know, like, there's no point in her working on a Ford Fiesta, is there? So the cars that she lives around, and, you know, it's like on a bigger scale, but ultimately she's doing a sort of short-term profit, quick flip. Like, it's something strange about that. Yeah.
Here's another example of something that you guys wouldn't have known about.
Another example. So we're doing loads of these little get-rich-quick schemes, but we're dealing with bigger amounts of money. But it's the equivalent of, you know, someone round the corner from you, they've got 2 cars on the drive they're trying to sell. They also have honey and jam that they do. They make hats for dogs and they sell them on eBay. You know, it's like someone with lots of little schemes to try and make a bunch of money, isn't it? It's almost like someone who's trying, like, because that car thing, right? It's almost like someone who's trying to get a lot of cash together quick, like trying to pull together a bunch of cash. Because the car thing, you don't actually have to pay the $100 million or the $1 million to get the car in the first place, you can just say, I want the car for £1 million, thank you. I'll pay you that within the 30 days, like, my good man, within a due agreement, or, the bank loan will pay it and I'll pay back the bank loan. And then you sell the car and you pay off, and then you don't, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have the liability yourself if you borrow the money to do it. So, like, maybe I'm not looking at someone who's sat on £1 million and has got the money to just, like, 5 million here, 5 million there, let's buy a few cars. Maybe I'm looking at someone who's got the leverage to loan £1 million, who can make the money back, pay you back your million, and I get my 100 grand, who needs 100 grand. Like, maybe it screams of desperation and like a sort of get rich quick multi-scheme cash grab, where the initial investment might be, and she said it herself, it wasn't even her money, it was Jeffrey Epstein's. Like, so we're playing with money, trying to get a small pot together. Like, in total, you sell 10 of these cars, you might be able to make your £1 million, but you've got to sell 10 of them. Like, it sounds like someone trying to scrabble together a pot of cash here, doesn't it? Well, it does to me. It certainly does to me.
So I became a banker. I got my Series 63 and Series 67 banking license and became a broker for like a new minute. And then because I was dating...
Sounds like another scheme as well. Like, she might have been good at the brokering. She might have been... She's a submarine captain, helicopter pilot, or it might be that, when you watch these films like Wolf of Wall Street or whatever, and they're like, we'll put you on as a broker, and they've got like a room of cleaners who are all listed as brokers so they can do some sort of scam. I don't know, like, but she got her ticket to become a broker next. Again, like, how are you moving from property to motor vehicles, luxury motor vehicles, to stock market brokering? Like, why are you this multi-tentacled, almost like prodigal business enterprise mind? Like, she's like almost going Elon Musk on this, isn't she? She's got a car, she's got a property, except it's all just little scams and not scams, but like little schemes to try and get more money quickly.
Trading. Everything I had, I day traded through an account. Day trading.
So it's not about investing, coming back in 6 months, you've made your money. It's about, can I scrabble a little more today? Like, if day trading on crypto markets, I actually investigated it a while back. I didn't do it on stream. It was even before I was streaming. But like, I just wanted to, do a little, like, if you put in £100 and trade it every day, what can you make? Like, I was able to make £40 a day off a certain amount of money invested, but I reasoned out that I could make the same money if I just went to work in Tesco or McDonald's and not risk all of my money to do so. So I didn't reason out that it was a good idea really for me. But some people maybe are successful at it. But the whole point is, in any given day, day trading is about trying to make a little more each day. It's about putting your money on the line and trying to, like, you put your £100 in, you might make 10. And like, that's good, you've made your little money. That, sell this, buy this, see the difference every day. Like, that's micromanaging money. So you do that with smaller amounts of money to try and make smaller amounts. It's not like a big money. Like, you can make money on it, like, for example, a pump and dump scheme, a day trade where one day you make a load of money, but not every day. Like, so, like, usually investors and people with her end of the money scale and people like Epstein, aren't they putting money into, like, bonds and businesses, and like, are they doing day trading to try and scrabble together a little bit extra? Something's weird about the whole fact that she's just doing all this, in my opinion.
And
well, I don't have to say my opinion on that, do I?
I think I was lucky more than smart, but I made quite a lot of money doing that. And so,
or did she have some inside information that she should be trading on that particular day?
When was that? Like, what?
That's in the 90s again. I don't. Oh wait, I think.
All right, okay, it makes a lot more sense now. Sorry, it's in the 90s. I thought this was something she was doing more recent because, like, timeline. But no, in the 90s she was going through financial turmoil and she was desperate. So yeah, that makes total sense.
It'll be my banking license, right?
Like, this is how her and Jeffrey came up. Like, this isn't how, like, he operates now, or well, doesn't operate anymore, does he? Because he's living on an island off in dead.
Well, that'll be something that you can look up, probably. So whatever that is, and I just don't remember when that is. I'm sorry.
So okay, so
for example, I was doing really, really, really well, and so he was like, "How do you do that? Why are you investing in, I don't know, Apple when nobody liked Apple? This is, before Apple or Microsoft." I didn't know Bill Gates, so this is not related to him. But my family.
Don't charge with insider.
Please don't. No, I'm not trying to suggest that. Oh goodness, please no. I had
That was
no.
just a joke.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, yeah, no, all right. But my going back to my family, my dad had given me an account when I was 12, and I had always an interest in business and finance. Not very sophisticated. I'm not suggesting that. And so I like to trade, and so I did, and I did well. And so then I would tell him what I was doing. Now, whether he did or he didn't, he told me he matched me in some other accounts that he had, because he did a lot of. My observation, to go back to what he did, I observed him personally and have personal recollection of him trading with money, a lot, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
That he was trading for other people, or that was his own money?
I want also to clarify something for you, or underline. Wexner was, in my opinion, his closest friend in this time period of.
Throw Wexner in there again. The idea that Epstein was day trading with hundreds of millions of dollars of other people's money suddenly makes it a lot more attractive, doesn't it? Because if you can trade with hundreds of millions of dollars, you can make a bit of money on a day trade. And if it's not your money, you don't worry if you lose it. I suppose you've got to give them a cut, the people you're trading it for. You know, you don't get to keep all the money, but it's certainly a lot less risky, isn't it? Because if you lose the money, you just didn't lose any of your money.
From when I met him in 91, right, all the way until, well, till, I don't know, because I wasn't that friendly with, well, I did travel with Mr. Wexner, but Epstein told me that Wexner didn't want to be seen too much with me because of my family problems. And
you mean
now whether that was
the problems that your father's company had with embezzlement or allegations of...
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And now, actually, today, not contemporaneously, but today, I don't believe that that is even true. I think it was used as a means to not have me travel with him to Ohio or whatever. It was just a way to park me. And I believe that now because within the discovery there was a lot of, well, not a lot, but there was some indications that he would actively tell other people to lie to me or conceal things from me, and that he never loved me and I wasn't his type. That's in the discovery somewhere.
So,
in the discovery somewhere is that Jeffrey never loved her and she wasn't his type. Is that, or was she saying that about Wexner? I think she was saying it about Jeffrey, maybe. That must be quite hurtful for her to discover years later that he had confessed that he never really gave a fuck about her. Or is that like part of the game? It's very strange to bring that up herself. Like, I'm going to let that one go by.
okay, so the government had evidence that even as late as 2007, he paid you a lot of money.
What was that? What was the money?
Like several millions and millions of dollars in 2007. $7.4 million, I think.
What was that for? Was that the helicopter?
That's my question.
Oh,
to you.
sorry.
I don't know.
Okay,
so
sorry.
in 2007.
She's brilliant. I just decided to like Ghislaine Maxwell now. They're about to ask her, what's the 7 million? He paid you £7 million, 2007. This is a bit later now, isn't it? After you'd sort of moved away from him a little bit. Like, you know, £7 million. And she goes, what's that for? Well, that's what you should know. That's why we're asking you, you fucking knob. Like, you should remember why he paid you $7 million. What's that for? What she means is, do you know what that's for? She wants to ask them, like, what's that for? And if they say, oh, that's for this, this, and this, she's like, oh, that's what they think it's for. She's fishing them. That's what we're asking you, Ghislaine. We don't know. Oh, you don't know? Oh, I can give you a lie. Or you do know, and you want me to say something, you know, like she's fishing them in a very clever way.
What was that? What was the money?
Like several millions and millions of dollars in 2007. $7.4 million. I think.
What was that for? Was that the helicopter?
That's my question.
Oh,
to you.
sorry.
I don't know.
Okay,
so
sorry.
in 2007.
I think that's probably the helicopter. That could have
That
been
was what?
that could have been the helicopter, the Sikorsky. Those big chunks like that. I don't personally have any memory of receiving a check from him for $7 million. I just don't. But I would have to. I know I'm.
Because you don't have to have any memory of receiving a check, because he never gave you a check. You had bank accounts that he controlled that you were using to spend money from. So he never gave you a check for $7 million, no.
So the answer to your question, to
you
be
would
precise,
remember it if it went into your pocket. and
I would
it was
remember if
your-
it went. He never paid me for services that you just described, $7 million for any nefarious
Yeah,
reason.
I think I understand what you've said about.
He didn't give me $7 million for anything bad. That's fine then. But what did he? I think it might have been a helicopter. I can't remember. Like, what did he give you the $7 million for? That maybe a helicopter. Nothing bad, probably. Can we move on?
Being on the payroll and helping you with businesses and giving you a lot of life things along the way. You travel with him, you eat with him, but there is these massive amounts of monny, one-time payments
you'd have to trace that, right? So I don't believe that came into my account or I had any control. I have no memory of that. I've no.
Well, but if there's records that show it coming into your account, it sounds like what you're saying is that, not putting aside you have no memory of that money being yours. Like you didn't. That money is not somewhere.
No, I wouldn't be like, oh yippee, let me go. I got $7 million. I'm going to go buy myself a yacht. No, or I don't know, something else, or move it to some other. No, I don't think if you look, you'll have to check. Well, obviously you will. I don't think you'll find that money moving to any account other than mine, or it shouldn't show. I don't believe anyway. As far as I reckon, it wouldn't show me spending it.
Wouldn't show you spending it. Okay. So what were you doing with it? Where is it now? Isn't it a bit more dodgy if someone gives you £7 million as like a personal payment and then you don't spend it on anything? She's like, it's almost like a stand-up comedy routine, some of this. It reminds me of an Armando Iannucci show. Like, there's a bit of some kind of like, why aren't they pressing her further on this? Are we going to get to the bottom of the £7 million?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think I don't think there's any dispute by anybody, even your lawyers.
What she's trying to say is that it's money for the business stuff. He put it in my account. He spent it. I don't know. Like, it might have been for a house and he put it in and took it out. It might have been for a helicopter. He put it in and took it out. I'm not responsible for the £7 million, despite it being paid to me.
Trial that money went in.
$7 million in when? What year?
Well, there's several years. In 2007.
And?
It's in the 2002. There was $5 million that you were paid in 2002.
Oh.
Again, she's fished him for the information. He shouldn't be volunteering this information to her. He should be questioning her on it. And then, like, he should find out if her questions and answers match up to what he knows as facts. But he's like, yeah, there was £7 million. She's like, was it only £7 million? Was it any more? I don't know. I can't remember. And he's like, yeah, there was more. Oh, was there? Yeah, which ones do you know about? Do you know about? Oh, you know about this? And he's volunteering it to her. So now she's got a chance to sort of like, work with the information. It should have been that, like, because she didn't mention the other years then until he did. So it should have been that she's the one bringing up this information, shouldn't it? Like, to be above board and but yeah, obviously I remember that he gave me £7 million every year, not just the 1 year. Like, we're talking about quite a lot of money.
Was in when? What year?
Well, there's several years. In 2007.
And?
It's in the 2002. There was $5 million that you were paid in 2002.
Oh, well, I'd have to. I don't remember. But okay, so there would be another large sum, but it wouldn't have come from him later. But with nothing to do.
The biggest one was in 1999. There was over 18 million, 18.3 million.
I don't know what that is.
So what? But but what you're saying, it sounds like, and then if you don't know, we can move on. But when we're talking about 18.3 million in '99, 5 million and 3 years later in 2002, 7.4 million in 2007, that money adds up to around $30 million. You were not paid that by Mr. Epstein, meaning that's not money you received for your benefit, even if it was put into your accounts.
I don't believe any of that was my money. Now, I just, like I said, we did do these things with the cars, and we did, and I don't know if any of that money, some of it, if it moves, some of that may have come from the car or a house that was sold that I had an interest in with him. That's possible, but I don't think this money is mine.
But also, the record should reflect too that there were times Ghislaine's name was used. For example, Air Ghislaine. Her name was in the name of the entity. It had nothing to do with her. And if
Good one, lawyer. Sometimes they name the business after her. So, but the bottom line is here, I actually believe her that the money's not hers. Like, it does make it a problem for her that money that is not hers is going in and out of her bank account for deals that she can't account for. That does make a problem. But I do kind of believe that, like, you know, we're dealing in... It might have been a cut of her profits. This is the other thing, right? Okay, so there's two options, really. I guess there's more options, but like, it could have been legit that she doesn't know he's moving money in and out of her account for his deals and, you know, and his, like, as part of this business or whatever. You know, someone's lent him £10 million to do some deal, so he's put it in her account, like, so it doesn't go into his or whatever. You know, that and she's not to touch it, because, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that could be legit. On the other hand, as well, what about, like, if it's her cut of some profit from some deal that she's not admitting to? Like, here's your 10 mil from that job, Ghislaine. Then why the hell would she put it in a bank like that? Like, it's not a very good laundering scam, is it, to have Jeffrey give it you? So yeah, but there's obviously huge problems with this. I can't keep pausing it on this one, but there's huge problems with this. It's not necessarily anything to do with Donald Trump and Jeffrey. Well, actually, it could be in the 90s, couldn't it? Properties, Trump. You know, maybe it could be. Maybe this money could be accounted for by mentioning Trump's name, and she's just unwilling to do so. And then, but you know, the whole point of this interview, like, to exonerate Trump from any wrongdoing with the ladies. This is like a slightly different side issue, isn't it? But a very fucking strange one, and not something that I expected her to come out with. I didn't realise that we were going to be asking Ghislaine Maxwell about whether she could remember spending £30 million or not.
Pooled signatures.
Yeah.
There's no.
You know, what I'm trying to just make sure I understand is that the idea that you were paid $30 million between '99 and 2007. In order to, by Mr. Epstein, to reward you for recruiting young women, that is, you're saying that is categorically completely false.
That is categorically false, correct.
Okay, I have to pause it. The idea that you were paid the money for recruiting the women is categorically false. Fair enough. You know, it only costs, like, you know, 20 quid to get some street hawker. Sorry, not trying to reduce the victims to bad. I was trying to pretend to be heard. Like, you know, the victims have had bad thing happen to them, yeah? But, like, it costs less money to get a victim and recruit them and to pay for all that. That costs less money. So, like, you don't need to be paid £1 million for doing that. So what could you have possibly done with that system that could have earned you £1 million? Possibly blackmail? Could this be the proceeds of blackmail? Because they're saying that what you did is you got the girls and you put them with the famous people and the rich people and whomever else, and like, I don't know, for example, got videos of them doing the sex with them and then used that to blackmail them. So someone might have given you certain millions of pounds after you'd procured the ladies for the sex thing, but it might not have been a direct payment for it. So, like, maybe we should go on and ask about that.
So I want to we went through several individuals yesterday, and I want to go through just a couple of more names and ask if you know them, and if you do know them, how you know them. Do you know Elon Musk?
I do.
And how did you meet Mr. Musk?
I met him.
She knows Elon Musk. I forgot to say big ups to Luke earlier. Big ups Luke Sanderson. Big ups you. D&D might be around. She might be around. Sometimes observing from quite a distance. Don't worry, it's all good.
In I don't remember the year, but it's going to be in 2010, 11, something like that, I think, if my memory serves. And I was at an event for Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, and Sergey had arranged it was for his birthday, and we were a bunch of us. I don't even remember how many we were, but not many of us.
Not many of us. We're just a little small group with the co-founder of Google, Elon Musk. It's someone's birthday. It's the Google man's birthday, and he's having a party. It's just a little, we're not going out downtown. We're just having a few mates round. The co-founder of Google's having a few mates round, including Elon Musk. And you. And Jeffrey Epstein, apparently. What do you bring to the party? How come you're friends with the co-founder of Google? And Elon Musk?
Maybe.
Wait, was Elon Musk in the files? Not in the files. Are we releasing the files? Are these people at this party, are they going to be in the files, or is this something separate? It's probably something separate, isn't it? It's just a party for the co-founder of Google that you're invited to.
Say 40, I could be wrong. If it was 30 or 50, I don't remember, I'm sorry. Went to another friend's island, somebody called Mr. Bigotzi in the Caribbean, and not with Epstein. He was not there to celebrate Sergey's birthday. And we were there together for, I want to say 3 or 4 days, something like that, in my memory. And Mr. Musk was a present for that.
And that was the first time you met him, as far as you know?
As far as I remember, yes.
Did you meet, did you know his brother, Mr. Musk's brother?
I don't know if I've ever met him. I know that he has a brother, and but I don't think I met him.
Aside from that time in around 2010 on the island of the Caribbean for a couple of days, do you know Mr. Musk beyond that time?
We met at, I was at the Oscars, and we met at the Oscars.
What year was that? Earlier or later?
It was post that event, I believe.
And do you know whether...
That's another example of, she knows there's photographs of her at the Oscars. Yeah, there's going to be, aren't there? And she met Elon Musk. She can probably remember that, that's a fact. And what's probably happened is her lawyers have gone through and, preemptive of these questions, have said, right, if they're going to ask you if you've met Elon Musk, you have to say yes, because here's a photograph of you and him at the Oscars. She's probably got a no list. I've never met Donald Trump. I've never met Elon Musk. I've never met this guy. I've never met this guy. That's the best answer for all of those. But some of them are going to be impossible to say that because there's going to be evidence that she has. So she doesn't know. I'm not certain that the Google party, there's photographs of her there, but maybe there is. It's a social event. So the ones she's completely prepared to admit to are the social events where there's possibly evidence of her being there. But other meetings don't have to be discussed if there's no evidence. Do you know what I mean? It's a reoccurring theme that she will admit to something if it's publicly visible. But the other things that we're questioning him about, her and some things do come up that are private that she's answered questions to, but she consistently says she can't remember about a bunch of stuff. So we know that she's doing this interview. When she says I can't remember, it's like saying no comment, isn't it? It's like an easy way out. It's like pretending you don't know so you don't have to answer plead the fifth or whatever. So I expect that she does understand and she does remember, and that she's carefully, with her lawyers, choreographed this this series of admissions based on evidence. If you know something, I'll admit to it. But if you don't know it, I'm not going to say anything, is her plan. It's very clever. It's very clever, isn't it? We brought up the Oscars now because it's photographic evidence of us being there. So we'll admit to that. Mr.
Epstein knew Mr. Musk.
I believe they did. And the only reason I say that it's not from my memory, but because...
Elon Musk did know Jeffrey Epstein.
Because I saw, I think I saw, my memory is that in Discovery, they were communicating on email.
So you have no personal knowledge of
I
that.
have
It's just
no
what you've seen from the press or from.
Yeah. I can't remember any facts about that. I'm not going to give any evidence, but the stuff that's already publicly available, I will say is fact because I can't dispute it. That's what she's doing. Again, it's in Discovery, so I can't deny that. I have to say yes. I'm such an honest person. Yet what about what you know that's not in Discovery? Can you bring anything to the table on this subject? Nope, can't remember. Never saw anything. Didn't happen.
Discovery.
And I believe his brother as well, actually.
Excuse me?
Mr. Musk's brother as well. But I don't, like I said, my
Big ups, Covetown.
memory is not, it's not as good as I would like it to be, and I just want to say that.
My memory's not as good as it was when someone was giving me millions and millions of pounds to buy helicopters, and like, over the years my memory's gone a little bit. If you gave me £30 million to buy a helicopter, I might be able to remember more, but right now it's just a little bit. Tell you what, move me to that Florida prison and my memory will get even worse, actually. You never know. All those spa treatments and all that yoga, everything might slip my mind and I might not be able to implicate anyone. Give me a full pardon. Whoop, can't remember even what I was doing yesterday. Just going to have to go and fly my helicopter around and look for Amelia Earhart's plane in peace.
Do you mentioned, I think yesterday in passing, well, not in passing, but as part of another answer, Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
Did you know Mr. Cuomo?
Well, only because he was married to Kerry.
Yes, okay.
And I think I knew his brother as well. He has a brother, right? He's on TV. What's his name? Right, Christopher.
Yeah,
Chris.
Yeah. You mean the former TV anchor, or
Yes,
the TV anchor,
yes.
Chris Cuomo? Okay.
So, but I would say just socially, I'm not close friends or anything, but because I was friends with Kerry and I met him a few times, and I've certainly met his brother as well a few times.
And the same questions that I asked about Mr. Musk, do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew Andrew Cuomo or Chris Cuomo or Miss Kennedy, your friend?
I don't think so.
And so you don't recall any of those three individuals like flying on Mr. Epstein's plane or visiting him in Palm Beach or at the island?
No.
I think you mentioned former Secretary of State John Kerry yesterday, but if not, do you know Mr. Kerry or not?
I have met him, but I don't know if Mr. Epstein has met him. I met him at only, well, really, I can't even probably characterize that as a meeting, but I was very, very involved in the ocean work through you asked me yesterday about Terramar, and if I recall right, I met Mr. The Secretary that way through the ocean, but he wouldn't know who I am, I doubt. I don't think.
Do you know former Senator Ted Kennedy?
Yes.
And is that through your own life or through Mr. Epstein?
My life.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew Senator Kennedy?
I don't believe so.
And so for the folks we just talked about, so former Secretary of State John Kerry, Ted Kennedy, you don't know whether Mr. Epstein knew him, so I take that to mean you have no recollection of them flying on his planes or visiting him. Okay.
But Bobby Kennedy knew him. Bobby, the health.
Sorry, say that again about Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby knew Mr. Epstein.
How do you know that?
Because we went on a trip together. We went to dinosaur bone hunting in the Dakotas.
When was that? Approximately. I'm not looking for an exact date, but when was that?
That was early. That was in the early night. Well, let me back up. I knew Bobby's wife, Mary, pretty well, actually, and before he met her.
And she knew his wife before he even met her. Oh, God, you don't want to go back that far, do you? And find out what happened introducing Bobby Kennedy to his now wife through the Epstein, like they were in their heyday. They went dinosaur bone hunting in the desert. I don't know if you can find any dinosaur bones in the desert. You probably can. Might be fun. Mind you don't know what you might dig up down the desert. Other people go down there to bury things. You just enjoy your dinosaur bone hunting. You fucking mad nutters. I don't want any part in any of this. What? Would you go dinosaur bone hunting with Ghislaine, Maxwell, Epstein, and this guy? It was the 90s, but the 90s were a different time. Everyone was dinosaur bone hunting in the desert back in the 90s. Where does she come up with this stuff? Like, is it that Ghislaine Maxwell just lives this, like, is it that the socialite, I'd never imagined that the socialites of this world, like the elite glitterati, Illuminati, that sort of thing, get your photos from your paparazzi. I don't even eat pepperami. I eat real salami. God, it sends me balmy. Those sort of people, I didn't think that they were off dinosaur bone hunting and driving submarines, but maybe they are, and maybe I don't see it because I'm out in the desert and I'm not under the water. And I don't want to go in the water. I'm not going swimming in my local river, despite what, if anything happens, I'm not interested in freshwater swimming or anything like that. I'm feeling absolutely mentally fine. I'm not planning to do anything to myself. I didn't implicate Elon Musk in anything here. I'm just watching the video and saying it like I see it.
Just to help us, I know we're talking about a wide span of time, but when are you talking about that you knew?
That's right, Peter. That's right, Auntie Kay. Peter Folding could find the dinosaur bones with his impressive sonar. His ground penetrating sonar. He can find the llama bones on his own property, can't he? But then again, he knows where he buried the bodies,
Mr. Kennedy,
of the llamas, which he said that he did.
Wife before they
because he loves those animals.
All right. So when are we talking about that?
Because he's a lovely man.
In 19... all right, I've just got to get my head straight.
Well, would this have been before you met Mr. Epstein?
Yes.
Or after? Okay, so
I met him before I met...
So we're talking about
in
the
1980s.
1980s.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh wait, we're saying we met Bobby Kennedy now in the 80s before you met Epstein. Fair enough.
80s.
Okay, so we're talking about the 1980s, and then
I was I had a very, very long-standing boyfriend, and he had his brother was dating Mary at the time, and we were all very good friends.
And then Mr. Epstein, did Mr. Epstein meet Bobby Kennedy through you?
I don't think so, because Mr. Epstein, surprisingly, everyone says everything happened through me. That's just not true. I mean, I think yesterday I explained that he had friends from London, and they were what the people would call fancy. They were fancy people. But he had the same types of relationships before I met him in America. So when I met him, he was already, Wexner, and he had Henry, and he was, I don't know if then he was in the Council of Foreign Relations, but he was friends with Ace, and he was well established.
Yeah.
He didn't need me, and he was, his Eva was, major model, so he had all these modeling connections and friends in that business that long before I met him.
And so the trip that you went on with Mr. Epstein and Bobby Kennedy, was that in the 90s and 2000s?
I think it would have been in the, I want to say 93, 94.
Okay. So a very long time ago.
A very, very long time ago.
It's a few years into your relationship, a few years into the time that you knew Mr. Epstein.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, I don't want to hold myself to the dates because I really.
No, I'm not holding
Okay.
you to dates. I think
Because I really don't.
I've said that a lot because I appreciate we're talking about the 80s and 90s and even
I
the
just want you to know
2000s.
I don't have anything to review. So I haven't had any ability to, short of my legal material, obviously, which I have. So I came with a box worth. But short of that, I have nothing with which to refresh, or very limited stuff, I should say. I don't want to say nothing to refresh my mind.
Understand that. Do you have any recollection of Mr. Kennedy, of there being anything inappropriate with Mr. Kennedy and masseuses or young women on the trip you just talked about?
I never saw anything inappropriate with Mr. Kennedy.
And do you know whether he ever got a massage from one of the masseuses? Do you know either way?
I do not.
But not something you remember.
I mean, absolutely not. I mean, yesterday, if I didn't make it clear, I will reiterate it. I never, ever saw any man doing something inappropriate with a woman of any age. I never saw inappropriate behavior. Now, I'm not going to say, hands or, I mean, that to me is not inappropriate. Now, if somebody's
I'm sorry. I know I'm pausing her while she's talking. I will remind it. And I'll also I'll remind you, at the end of this process, I'll put this on as members' content. So if you want to watch the full unadulterated interview with the sound fixed, thanks. Thank you. Then you can have that as members. The idea that she'd never seen any adult male ever do anything inappropriate with a woman ever seems ridiculous, because didn't she describe some things which seemed quite inappropriate already? And didn't she describe some of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual proclivities as being, I don't know. But maybe she doesn't mean her, maybe she means other people. But she's never ever experienced, like, that's fair enough for her to say it, I suppose. And then she follows it up with, mind you, my definition of inappropriate isn't the same as your definition of inappropriate. I don't mind if someone's a bit handsy. Ghislaine.
inappropriate behavior. Now, I'm not.
And who had their phone on? Again, who's doing that? Take it off them. We're doing the police interview now. It's the DOJ. You can't have your phone on unless it's Donald Trump calling.
I'm not going to say hands or. I mean, that to me is not inappropriate. Now, if somebody's inappropriate and mine may be different, but I'm not talking about anything that's resembles the accusations that we're discussed here. So that would be a flat no to any man.
Did your or Mr. Epstein's relationship with Bobby Kennedy continue into the 2000s, as far as you know?
I would say yes. Well, mine, yes.
Yours with you?
With me, for sure.
And do you know whether Mr. Epstein and Mr. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, continue to have relationships into the 2000s?
I have no personal knowledge of that. I mean, because
yeah,
here's
no
another thing is that everyone puts us together a monolith. He literally had a separate life from me. I literally had a separate life from him. Now, did they say? Well, of course they did. I'm not crazy, but he kept a lot to himself, and he didn't like to share. He was not a sharer. Well, at least not with me.
Mr. Epstein didn't share, you're saying?
Not with me, no.
Did you, do you know somebody named Cheryl Mills? That used to work in the White House as a lawyer.
I do. Yes.
How do you know Miss Mills?
I met Miss Mills through President Clinton.
And do you remember generally the time frame that you met her?
I do, actually.
Do you remember the time frame that you met her? I do, actually, yeah. Checks notes. Earlier she said that she had no way of verifying when she met Kennedy all those years ago. She doesn't have anything to refer back to jog her memory. So that implies that behind the scenes and the time off overnight, she's got some sort of maybe private diary, or with her team of lawyers. Like, as I suggested, they've probably gone through public record and found out any mention of Ghislaine Maxwell, who she's photographed with, put together a timeline. When someone's name comes up, she could say, I don't know, or I do know them. And I've said it earlier, like, it's most likely that when it's in public record, she'll say, oh, I do, yeah. And this is another one of those, isn't it? Like, she's just said, I remember, and then she's checking her notes. They've like got a list of all the people and whether she can say that she knows them or not. Not whether she does know them or not, but whether she has to say that she knows them based on the fact that it's public knowledge. And if it's not public knowledge, on that list, it will say something like, you don't have to say that you know this person. You can get away with not saying you know this person. No photographic evidence exists of you with this person. And she knows who's like hot and who's not. You know what I mean? She knows who she has to admit to and who she doesn't. And the way I'm like sort of falling into that, like, this is my belief. The reason it's my belief is because she just said then, I remember, and then she checked her notes. So if you remember, you could just say it. But the fact that you've got it all noted down in this sort of formal way in these lists, and you took the time last night to, as she said, like, not jog your memory about certain things, means that you could have been jogging your memory about others. She probably, and I don't know, like, it's really difficult to say she's got a diary somewhere. I mean, she's got records of things somewhere, hasn't she? Like, we would assume, like her dad did, in safes. But like, I doubt she's got like a mobile phone with all of her appointments on it that she, you know, oops, I've dropped that, someone's seen that, oh, like the FBI have got that, you know. I wonder what sort of access she would have to her records. Certainly she's in a prison situation as well, so she can't just go and be like, oh, let me go into the library and pick off diary number 5. And she wouldn't have all things written down in books on her shelves anyway, would she? Like, but somewhere in some format through the lawyers, there's some sort of recording going on of her, you know, she's got some sort of record of some past stuff. And I believe they've made this file of, like, you know, who's who and do you know them, or do you have to admit to knowing them?
Oh, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember. I'm trying to get my dates right.
Approximate.
Well, okay, I can't get my dates right. But it's something you probably can, but it's going to be in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So I don't recall.
So
I wanted to say 2002.
So it was after President Clinton left office.
Oh, yes.
And so it was in the 2000s.
Definitely.
And how did you meet her? What were the circumstances under which you met Miss Mills?
I went on a trip with the president to South America.
With which president?
Oh, sorry, President Clinton.
Yeah. Okay. Just, you know.
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure it was clear. Okay. So you went on a trip to where?
Latin America.
And so Miss Mills was on that trip.
She was.
And President Clinton was on that trip.
He was.
Who else was on that trip?
Doug Band.
Who worked with President Clinton?
Yes.
And was Mr. Epstein?
No.
And what was the purpose of that trip?
Well, the president had been. I don't know. I mean, the president met with.
I don't know. I went on a plane with the President of America to South America. Yeah? Why did you do that? Don't know. Oh my god! And the way she built up to it as well, with the very firm answers. Who was on the plane? Yeah, I was on the plane. Clinton was on the plane. That man, yeah, that man was on the plane. Epstein, nope, definitely not. What were you doing there? I can't remember really. I think, did we need chips or was it? I think was it someone's birthday? I don't know. The president was there. I remember the president being there. I mean, was she really, really high or something? Up in the plane probably. But like, you don't remember. And like, the other thing that occurs to me is her background that she's built up through. Like, I'm learning a bit about her through this interview. I knew a bit about her before, but I didn't know she was a submarine captain and she could fly a helicopter and, you know, outward bound, jolly hockey sticks, you know, getting herself in the Explorers Club going to look for Amelia Earhart. I didn't know about all that, controlling the international waters in the South Pacific. I didn't know about that. Controlling the international, like getting involved in schemes to go and take millions of pounds out to do things in international waters, out off New Zealand and stuff. Off Polynesia. I didn't know about that. But now she's on a plane with one of the most powerful man in the world at the time, I suppose you could say, couldn't you? Like Clinton was the president of America, and she's travelling with him to South America. That sounds nice. She can't remember why. I was going to say, like, she can't remember why. Maybe because it's like international secrets. You know, maybe Ghislaine, with her portfolio of her dad and his links to like different spy agencies, Mossad, the Russians, you know, whatever. And then Jeffrey Epstein, who, this is early days with Jeffrey Epstein they're going back to, but like people suggest that Jeffrey Epstein might have had links to different, you know, selling secrets and things like that. You know, maybe this is some sort of international business, and I don't know, could be a cover for, I'm not really allowed to say it, like being on the plane with the president. Like if you're on the plane with the president and they say to you, on this plane, what happens on this plane stays on this plane. It's international business, and you can be sent to prison for telling what the president does. You know, like she might have been sworn to secrecy because they're doing some sort of espionage, or not espionage, but you know, above board international diplomacy that's not for the public consumption. So it could be that, you know, she could have signed an NDA, but then doesn't she just need to say, I can't say that, it's national secrets, or something like that, instead of, I don't know. Like, it just totally, she goes from sounding solid, credible, and believable, which is the thing, because she is on the plane, Clinton is on the plane, you know, and all that, but then she just falls away to this, like I thought she was supposed to be capable, and sometimes she seems almost comedically incapable. I don't know. Like, that could have been today in this one, I'm starting to feel like this could be like replayed as a comedy movie, you know, like Anchorman and stuff. Like, you know, it's almost comedic the way she fluffed that question.
Latin America.
And so Miss Mills was on that trip.
She was.
And President Clinton was on that trip.
He was.
Who else was on that trip?
Doug Band.
Who worked with President Clinton?
Yes.
And was Mr. Epstein?
No.
And what was the purpose of that trip?
Well, the president had his. I don't know.
She was going to say, she thought of an answer, and she took it back. The president had his birthday? I don't know. The president had something. She took it back. Big ups, Claire. And this isn't her real face, that isn't. That's AI picture that I put together for the thumbnail. It's based on her real face, obviously, because it looks like her. But you can't judge any body language from this because we only get the audio. Oh, why don't they video these things?
I mean, the president met with, I can't even remember all the presidents, and we were in.
But was this part of President Clinton's work after he left office with his foundation, or was a meaning?
I don't think the foundation.
Was it something for him?
When
or
did
was
that? I don't remember when.
Okay, so he's not in president office anymore, so he's not that powerful. But it even casts a weirder shadow onto it that he's not the president anymore, is he? But he's still big, important, and they're going on the plane.
The Clinton Global Initiative started. So if you give me that date, I can tell you if it was pre or post. Because without that, I can't pin the reason.
Do you remember what?
Another one. I mean, I'm assuming that date is available, but if you don't tell me what you know, I can't tell you what I know. Did you see him? Was this before or after this date? Well, I don't know what that date was. Do you have the date? If you don't have the date, then we can't confirm. Like she could confirm that herself with her lawyers, yeah, surely, but she's not going to unless you pin her on it. And she's asked you, do you know? It's like third time now in this episode of this where she's turned it back on them and fished them for information to decide whether she has to admit to it or not.
Was for or not?
No, I don't.
And they've had a break overnight. They've had the lawyers, you know, they've got prepared for this one. This is a lawyer's tactic that's coming through her mouth. They've told her to do this. When they ask you a question, ask back what they, you know, try and dig to see what they know and whether you have to answer it.
recall. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
that's don't overthink or underthink the reason for my questions. I don't have any idea why you went on that trip. So
Okay,
I don't know
sorry.
an answer that I'm keeping.
No,
from
I'm
you.
just trying to be as accurate as possible and give you the.
And he called it out then. He said, don't try and second guess why I'm asking you. I don't actually know. Tell me the answer. You know, he's fed up now of trying to give her supplementary information to try and help her answer the questions better for her.
Why would you? Do you remember why you were invited to go? Like, were you friends with somebody? What was your role going on that trip?
I didn't have a role.
So, do you remember why? Do you remember who invited you to go?
If probably Doug Band.
And how did you know Doug?
Because Doug and again back with Philip Levine.
Got it. And do you know whether he had a relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Who?
Doug.
I don't know. I mean, nothing. I don't believe there was any relationship other than I helped. Well, without me, I don't think there would have been those flights because I was the one who asked Epstein to provide the plane for. Well, certainly I remember the one to Africa, of course, that big trip. And I thought it was an honor and a privilege to be part of something so amazing and to have an opportunity.
Jay Stansfield scores again.
To spend time with a man that I found truly extraordinary. And please, I don't mean it in any other way other than there's a former fantastic ex-president.
Sorry, that was a Birmingham football song that I just interjected with. Sorry.
So, I was asking around the question, but I was asking, like, were you basically asked to go because you were kind of responsible for the plane? Not responsible is the wrong word. They use you. They were able to use you to make sure that they could. You helped them get Mr. Epstein's plane for the trip?
No, I don't even know if when I was on that. In fact, I think that trip, I'm not even sure that Epstein had met the president.
Okay.
I think this was, if I'm right, and I think I am, I think that trip happened when Epstein and Clinton had never even, not that they'd never met because Epstein had gone to the White House, but they had not met. I'd never asked Epstein for the plane then because they'd never met and it would be weird. But they met because of me, and the plane was because of me. But that trip was the first, I think, the first trip I took with the ex-president. And I don't believe Epstein and he had met. And we're talking a time period when I was trying to leave, not very successfully, obviously, but I was branching out on my own and being more independent of Mr. Epstein. And trying to, I had all kinds of businesses that I was into. I was trying to start the first telehealth medicine with the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, I'm not going to bore you because I don't think that's what you guys are interested in. But those were the sorts of things that I was looking for him to finance so that I could.
I'm a little bit wary of someone dropping something and then sending us on that goose chase, which is why I'm wary of this Amelia Earhart stuff as well. I think it's almost conspiracy bait. She's dropped it. Trump's talked about it. Now they're sending I don't know if we talked about this on the last episode or not, but they're sending a plane out to go and Amelia Earhart the place up. Like they're sending a mission out there, and there's an American explorer who says it's useless. We've already scanned that area. So like there's all this Amelia Earhart stuff going on now out in the South Pacific that stems from her. But it almost feels like conspiracy bait or something. Oh, it's weird. And this feels a bit like that as well. Like she just dropped something else in that we could potentially, potentially I want to know about the business interest with the Cleveland Clinic creating online, but maybe I don't. Maybe this is just like a little business venture she thought might, like she's putting money here, she's putting money there. There's development in. Okay, she's mixing with these people that are able to, I don't want to say give her inside trading information or whatever, but you're mixing with these people, they're Silicon Valley, they're ex-presidents and stuff. They can give you a few tips on where to put your money, can't they? Oh, this so-and-so is going to be doing something with the Cleveland Clinic. It's going to really take off on the internet. Put your money, you know, and like you can do things like that. But it surprises me. Like apparently she was talking about Apple years ago. She said earlier, Apple. Well, if you did get a load of shares in Apple years ago, you'd be all right now, wouldn't you? So that didn't work out for you though, did it, Ghislaine Maxwell? Somehow your shares in Apple didn't make you a multi-billionaire like other people's did. You're trying to invest in, like, okay, the Cleveland Clinic, you've heard of it, it's online. But like and there's another part of that actually, which is being investor of the Cleveland Clinic is like a portal to the between big pharma and the people is this intermediary which imparts information. It's a bit like owning the newspapers, isn't it? If you own the online sharing of information about health in America, then you're in quite a powerful position if you want to sell some tablets. So there's like all these different angles to that. So it is, you know, it's an interesting investment, but it's not Microsoft and it's not like, you know, multi-billion pounds a project. In fact, it's more like the sort of thing that you'd be doing if you were interested in, like if you're just interested in making money, it's not the most logical thing that she's doing because she's got all these other connections where she can make proper big money on slightly different, more established means. You know, I mean, she's met Elon Musk. She could have been involved in Tesla, but instead she's trying to micromanage a sort of online portal where, well, not micromanage. I'm using the wrong word there. You know, she might just put money into it, but she's dropped that idea. But it leads on to another series of questions about her ability to manipulate people online, generally about health. You know, it's it could be used as a propaganda tool. It's the sort of thing that people who buy newspapers get into, maybe. I'm surprised that she's dropped that on the table there. We're not going to follow it up any further now, but she's quite happy to put it on the table. So it makes me think that there's not much to follow up. But again, why aren't you, you know, if you know Bill Gates and Apple and Elon Musk, why aren't you a multimillionaire in a tech space? Like, why are you failing to go to the South Pacific and control the oceans, or, you know, investing in small time, not small time, but, you know, these ideas, these schemes? You know, why haven't you gone for something that's much more clearly reliable and like longer term? Yeah, I don't know. Questions?
Stop being, you know, general manager of a hotel.
Did you take other trips with some or all of those individuals kind of without Mr. Epstein in later years? Like you said, that was the first time that you kind of been on something like that, and it was an honor, and you were spending time with former President Clinton and others. Were there other, over the years, did you do that more than once?
Yes.
We'll talk about those. Like multiple times, like too many to count, or there are 3 or 4 times? Like how many times?
A lot. I went on a lot of trips. Now, I don't recall all of them, not because I'm trying to be evasive or anything, but I just don't remember them all. And after a while, you know, in the incredible job that you have, all of you, that when you're so high pressured and you're spending so much time with extraordinary people like you do with President Trump, it can blur. It just does. And there's few things that stand out because at the end it's all just extraordinary.
Spending time with Donald Trump was an extraordinary blur. What were you on? What were you on? An extraordinary blur. That got her out of prison, put in the Florida cushy. She does yoga classes now.
Cars and sirens and president. It's like, well, okay.
So I understand, but talk. So don't give me understand. You can't give specific numbers. Describe more about kind of that part of your life and your relationship. I'm using relationship. You don't like relationship.
Sorry, I don't.
And your
my employer.
Yes.
Right,
so just to describe what you were doing with those individuals. So when I say those individuals, I'm talking about former President Clinton, Doug, other
Arab
folks that
magazine,
work with
all of
him?
them. Yes, there were loads of them, and just all of them. You know the team. I don't need to give you all the names. You have them at your fingertips, and I can confirm. If you give me names, I'll say yes, because they're not all going to pop into my head. So,
Right.
okay. So I started spending a lot of time. I don't want to characterize that, but I started to spend time with the former president and with Doug and his team, and I had no purpose really, other than I obviously offered something. I don't know, ideas of, I don't know. Anyway, and he started to travel. I don't remember if the first trip was Africa or how it went, but at some point, I think there was actually 2 trips, but I'm not sure. So there was to Europe and then to Africa. I think maybe it was all one trip. And at some point, Mr. Epstein said he didn't want to go on the trip, and he was going somewhere else, and he just left. And I was like, well, okay. And so I ended up doing the whole trip without Mr. Epstein or his plane.
Super chauffeur is the best.
And when you were traveling with them, what were the purposes of the trips? Like, is this one?
I think these were all, I think actually it was the AIDS, was one of the primary ones for his AIDS foundation when he was working to do that. And there were always a humanitarian side to the trips. And we went to Egypt and...
Wait. There was always a humanitarian side to the trips. Like, you might think that they were just going out there and doing humanitarian work, but that was only one side to the trips. And of course, you know, these important, powerful people, they don't just do one thing on a trip. They've got different people to see and different things to do. I get it. But he's out there on behalf of or because of the AIDS work, the AIDS Foundation. But that's just a side to the trip. A trip that she can't really remember all the details about. Epstein was going to go, but he pulled out at the last minute. Isn't that what she said about his proclivities as well?
There was, oh, yeah.
So it sounds like you're describing one trip with lots of
It
stops.
could be, but I have a feeling that I went on other trips, but I can't remember.
When you went on
I
these
went to London. I went
to London, okay.
I don't know if that's the same trip.
When you went on these trips, were you always on Mr. Epstein's plane, or
No.
did you sometimes accompany them on a different plane?
Correct, yes.
How many were on Mr. Epstein's plane? Again, I'm not holding you exact, but
That was packed, because there was a lot of Secret Service. It took all the Secret Service as well. So
Okay.
it was, whatever the detail is for Secret Service, it's a lot.
and on how many occasions, besides the trip you just described, were there other times when they used when President Clinton and the folks he was with used Mr. Epstein's plane?
I think there was twice, maybe. There was that, but it will reflect on the logs. There won't be anything that's not on the logs that you have already. So
Were you, by the way, responsible for the logs in any way? Like, you've seen the logs and they're public and you had them in Discovery, but over the years when you were working with or for Mr. Epstein, did you have access to the logs?
No, never. The pilots, the logbook was their personal logbook. I never even saw them have it. I never saw them fill it in. And then there was a second set of logs, the flight manifests, and I never saw those either. I was never allowed, I suppose, because you know, they want me to see.
Do you know?
Jeffrey Epstein owns the plane. Yeah, owns the plane, employs the pilot. She's in charge of all his affairs, all of his properties. She's literally said she's so valuable to the team that she gets paid 250 grand a year. Millions of pounds get put through her bank account. Even when they break up and they're not really like big friends anymore, she's continuing to work as his PA because she's so important. When it comes to the flight logs, she's not allowed. Not allowed. Hi, I'm Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm employing you to fly the plane. May I see the flight logs? No, you don't have the clearance. You don't have the clearance. Put on your parachute. I'm throwing you out the plane. Next pilot. Do I have the official clearance to look at your flight logs? Or do you want to not work on the plane anymore and be thrown out with a parachute? Come on. Come on. Like, anyone could say no to Ghislaine that worked for the end. Like, she's in charge. Right next to Epstein. I just think it's ludicrous that she should say that, but I suppose she can get away with it, can't she? It must be official. You know, pilots just keep their stuff to themselves, I guess.
So, do you know whether...
I bet these pilots bloody do now.
Mr. Epstein had a separate relationship with President Clinton, different from what you just described, so different than being with him with respect to his foundation or something like this?
I would say no.
When's the last time that you went on a trip or saw President Clinton?
It was in, was late 2000 and, I don't know, 16, 17, 8, something. It was in Los Angeles.
And what was the purpose of that meeting?
He was hosting something, or he was at an event, and I was in LA, and I had dinner with him.
Did you ever meet Secretary Clinton, Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
What?
Ooh, Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary. Crooked. Oh.
Because you'd be in jail.
She just said that she met Clinton for dinner. They said, what was the purpose of that? And she said, he was in town doing this thing and I was there, so we had dinner. She didn't say social. Like, if someone said to you, what was the purpose of dinner? You'd just say, just a social event. Because, like, but she didn't say that. She said, what she described, instead of, like, describing the purpose, she evaded the question in a kind of clever way. She could have just said social and got away with it, but she evaded the question naturally by saying, instead of answering the question, which was, what was the purpose? And she said the purpose. They asked what the purpose was, and she explained how the logistics lined up, which is not the same. You know? Like, it's implied, oh, they were in town for the weekend, so I met up with them and had dinner. Yeah, but was it social or was it business? Like, why were they in town? Like, why did you have dinner? Like, if it's... She evaded the question. Anyway, we're getting to Crooked Hillary now. Everyone's in it. Release the files.
When did you meet her?
I want to say, again, please don't hold me to it, but I want to say that it was on a flight that came from the island, from the Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard back to New York, is what I think. I might be wrong.
Okay, so an East Coast island like Nantucket or something like this.
The ex-president never came to the island.
And is that the only time that you met Hillary Clinton?
No. I went to the house in Chappaqua a few times.
And why did you go to the house?
I was invited.
Just to see President Clinton or Hillary Clinton or both, or?
Yeah, I mean, as a friend, not for.
She finally broke there and said yes as a friend, but she held. Yeah, there's something going on here. She's evaded the first question. They've asked her a similar question. She's evaded it. Why did you go to the house? I was invited. Yeah, but why did they invite you? What was the purpose of your visit? Like, it's like if you're going through customs and someone says, what was the purpose of your visit? And you said, well, I took the plane. Yeah, I know. And you just come off the plane. Like, why did you go to that country? I had a ticket. I've been visiting there. Yeah, what's the purpose of your visit? It's like she's not actually answered the question. And when they tried to nail her on it, she just again and decided on social. So if it was so easy, if it was just social, why not just say so? Like in the first answer to the question, why did you go there? I was friends with them. It's social. Like, you could go there for a business meeting. You could be invited for a meeting between, like, there's so many different reasons that you could go there, even on an invite. But she falls on social after some hesitation, doesn't she? Ghislaine, something's going on here.
A few times.
And why did you go to the house?
I was invited.
Just to see President Clinton or Hillary Clinton or both, or?
Yeah, I mean, as a friend, not for. I don't remember any reason. Either was somehow I communicated that was in driving back past Chappaqua if they were home and stop in. I know it sounds a little flippant, but it could have been.
Battery 80%.
And do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew or had any sort of business dealings or associated with Hillary Clinton?
I would say no.
Did you ever see them together?
No.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein ever did any business transactions with the Clintons?
I'm not sure I'm not sure how to quite, I don't know the answer to that strictly, because I was part of the beginning process of the Clinton Global Initiative, and that was something that I helped with, and that was me, and Epstein may have helped me help them, and in that context he may well have involved himself, but only in the context of something that I was trying to do.
So when you say involved himself, meaning like give money to the Clinton Global Initiative or something like this?
Well, so there's that. I think he did do that, and that I believe the money that he may have given could have been independent of me, but I think it's just easier if I just tell you how it happened rather than, because otherwise it sounds all odd and funky. I went to Davos with the former president, and have you been to Davos?
In what?
Have you been to Davos?
I have not.
Okay,
Have you been to Davos? Do you know what it's like in Davos? Or do you want me to explain? It's all getting a bit funky. Let me go back to the start and explain. So, have you been to Davos? Do you know about Davos? Have you been to Davos? It's your interview with the DOJ, Ghislaine. It's you that's doing the talking. Have you been to Davos? I don't care if they've been. Davos. Has anyone in chat been to Davos? Have we got any Davonians in? Davos? Have you been to Davos? There's a few little. I should be taking them as. I should be taking them as little buttons, little sound bites. Have you been to Davos? I've not been to Davos. Look at it. It's Congress Centre. This looks like something the Illuminati would cook up, doesn't it? Davos is a ski resort, apparently. The World Economic Forum. What? It's in Switzerland. It's right up in the mountains. It's cold. Looks cold. To quote Anchorman, you're going to need a coat. The World Economic Forum hangout, Davos. I've probably heard it in the news. They're meeting in Davos. Look at this. Someone's built this up there. Just up in the woods like that, up in the mountain. It's like a ski resort, I guess. There must be skiing available. There must be. I'll tell you what, there's not, though. There's not a lot of other people there that are not there, if you know what I mean. Like, if you do it in Chicago, if you had the World Economic Forum in Chicago, all different people could just turn up and rock up. But it's really hard to get to Davos up the mountain, isn't it? I would guess. It's not as easy as just a bus to Chicago or something. Looks nice in the sun as well, up in the mountain valley. Look at that. Davos. I don't know if you've been to Davos. That hotel there in the background. sits there. I wonder how they got planning permission for that. Davos. And to tell you what, it's a little village up in the mountains. Yeah, I know Switzerland's posh, and I know they've got money in Switzerland, but it's a little. Big ups, Beth. How's it going? And also, I was thinking about Beth today because I was going to say on the start of the show earlier, but I'm not supposed to because this is the wrong channel. But what's up, Ellie? I was going to start with that, but big ups, Beth. The Davos does look like Epstein's Swiss lair. It reminds me of Thunderbirds having a lair up in the mountains. It's like James Bond or something. And also, they've got a lot of money. Like, when you look at these places, and it's like, I mean, I've been skiing a few places. Usually it's chalets, a few like wooden buildings, a couple of hotels and stuff. But like, this is like spick and span. Look, they've got a little circle there. Well, I don't know, you can't quite see that bit. Down here, just there's a. I don't. It's going to make me sound stupid. I'll show it you anyway. There's a circle, and I associate that with affluence. It's not just a straight, like, when you go skiing sometimes, I don't know, I've not been skiing that many times, you know, I've been a couple of different places, but they usually just have like a straight road up the mountain and then like a few places off it. They don't usually have like this like circular car park entrance centre with a park in the middle. Like, this looks like proper architecture. Look at all the clean straight roads. Look, they've got like a highway like up in the mountains. Usually when you get up the mountains, it starts to peter out and they're just like rough little roads. This has got like a proper, or is that a canal? Like, what's that in the middle? Is that a canal? And they've got like lovely and clean, isn't it? And well, like they keep everything really nice. And all the buildings, they don't look like little chalets, do they? They look like quite smart, officey, apartmenty. What's going on in Davos? What's going on in Davos? I don't know if you've been to Davos. No, I haven't. I'm a bit scared of going now. It looks like it might be the belly of the beast in some way. Told you that story about how when we filmed Eddie Strongman, we were in America and we were in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Sports Festival. And I interviewed this guy called Bob, Dr. Bob, who it turned out, I mean, I kind of knew it before, or midway when I was talking to him, I realised who he was. He was partially responsible for the creation of the whole fitness and well-being expo scene in America, and selling people supplements and like creating a market for supplements and longevity, and like they made a lot of money on it and stuff. And like, I suddenly realised, like, while I was interviewing him, that I was suddenly like in the belly of that beast, if you know what I mean. Like, this whole industry around me, the sports expo, all the stuff that was going on, like, it was all part of this big creation of an economic market to sell like concepts and ideas that sell products. It was like, I was interviewing the guy while I realised it. I'd seen him on another documentary as well. It feels like this is the sort of place you could be doing that. Like, you could be going for a walk with your dog up in the hills and bump into someone, have a little chat, and then realise that, oh my God, this is that guy that's responsible for that business deal that did this thing. And like, you know, it feels like there's some quite interesting moving and shaking going on up there. But I don't know if it's my place. Look, there's Zelensky having a chat. He's been up there. The truth about Davos. What's this? The truth. It's in the Telegraph, so it must be true. They were going to get bought out by the Saudis recently, weren't they? So it must be true. Oh, and you can't read it. So I don't have Saudi money. I'm not paying for the Telegraph. I don't know the truth about Davos. That's going to have to go on the pin list. Ghislaine Maxwell in this interview has brought up a few different things that we could go off on tangents about, and there's another one. Have you heard of Davos? She certainly has. She was off up there. Let's go back to Ghislaine.
No, it's you know what it is, right? Okay, so, and
I didn't know what it was, honestly, and I'm not like some illiterate out here. I'm not like some ignoramus. I'd heard of it, I suppose, but she's laughing there. You know what it is, right? What, some posh ski resort or the centre of the Illuminati World Economic Forum? Which angle are you going with here? I'm not an ascriber to loads of really mad conspiracy theories, but then there are these, like, you know, big money groups who are pushing ideas at certain ends of society, aren't there? Like, what are you trying to imply? What are you doing there?
I thought that the former president should have his own Davos, because it would be, and it turned out that they had been thinking about it anyway, and so we were talking about it.
All right, I'll rewind this bit. It turns out she thought the president should have it, the former president. She wants Bill Clinton to have his own Davos. So whatever this is that's happening here, they want to replicate it themselves somewhere else. Steal the thunder from Davos. Create a new Davos. Davos 2.0. Then people won't want to go to the old Davos. The old Davos will look rubbish compared to our one. We'll put it in a volcano. We're having our Davos in an active volcano. Like Davos on the moon. That's Moonraker. Davos. Let's start in my own Davos. Fuck your Davos. Come on, we'll go and start our own. Davos now. Have you been to Davos? No?
Davos with the former president. I just tell you how it happened, rather than, because otherwise it sounds all odd and funky. I went to Davos with the former president, and have you been to Davos?
In what?
Have you been to Davos?
I have not.
Okay, well, you know you know what it is, right? Okay, so, and I thought that the former president should have his own Davos, because it would be, and it turned out that they had been thinking about it anyway, and so we were talking about it, and, you know, it's a very heavy lift to get something like that to go. And I was friendly with one of the people who had, I don't know if he was at the beginning of Davos, but he was running Davos. It was just, I don't know how to describe his actual role at Davos, and I had conversations with him about what did he think, you know, just because I was having dinner with him, about if Clinton could get something like that to go, what was his thoughts? And he was very, very enthusiastic. I mean, he was like, that's just an incredible idea. So I put them together.
What's that person's name? Do you remember?
I knew you were going to ask me.
Okay.
I can.
You said I didn't know if you knew if you remember his name.
I do, but I just
can't remember his name. Okay.
It will come to me. It may come to me tomorrow, but eventually these things like surface from, like in the middle of the night. I was scribbling names that I couldn't remember from yesterday.
Okay.
But his name will come to me.
That's really weird as well. The idea that she can only remember these things in the middle of the night, scrabbling names. What, on your secret tiny mobile phone that's been hidden up your bum that you're not supposed to have? Is someone reading names to you and you're writing them down in the middle of the night? Oh, we talked about Davos today, but I couldn't remember so-and-so's name. Oh, that's it, right, thanks, yeah. Or like, make sure you mention so-and-so. Like, it sounds really weird that she should be doing that. And the way she describes it, you know, my memory works when I'm asleep in the middle of the night and I suddenly remember everyone's name. So I'll get back to you on that one when I've checked with my overnight memory. Davos, I just found out from Grok, is a Swiss alpine town that hosts the annual World Economic Forum, where global leaders from politics, business, academia and civil society gather to discuss pressing issues like economic policy, climate change, technology and global health. Typically held in January, the event features panels, speeches and private meetings to shape agendas, foster collaboration and address crises though critics argue it prioritises elite interests. Beyond the WF, Davos is a ski resort and hosts smaller cultural and economic events year round. So they've just built themselves a January holiday home for the rich and political to go and get together and have a big chat. Like, that sounds well fucked, doesn't it? Like, shouldn't they be doing that? Like, I really, like, now that I've just learned about Davos properly, and how has this slipped me? How has this, like, eluded me that this is what goes on in Davos? I don't know, but they shouldn't be doing that. If they do that, they should do it in a transparent place where everyone can see, somewhere like, you know, with the people, because it's the people's interest they're talking about, isn't it? So they should be doing that in, like, Birmingham or, like, I don't know, you know, pick a different city. That sort of thing should happen in a different city around the world every January, like the Olympics or something. And all those panels and stuff should be really transparent, and people should be involved, shouldn't they? Like, you should go around the world, and the places that you're talking about and doing your projects on, maybe you should turn up there as well. You know, maybe you should do one in Africa one time, or, you know, fucking Switzerland up in the mountain. I suppose it's easier for security. I'm cross about Davos now. I'm not going to Davos, even if they invite me.
No one can find it.
So
if they invite me, I would go to Davos. Actually, would I? I could end up dead in the hills there, and then no one would find me. Is Davos safe? There's a lot of... Would you go... Here's a question for you in chat. I'll do a poll. It's time for a poll. This is your chance. This is your chance. Start a poll. Would you go to Davos? And it's just on an invite. I'm not telling you who's inviting you. You receive an email, a card in the mail. You are invited to Davos. All expenses paid. January, World Economic Forum. Let us know, because we're going to need the rooms. And then that's it. If you say yes, you go Davos. If you don't, you don't. You're allowed to go to the forums. You're allowed to go to the meetings. Not the secret ones, obviously. They're secret. You can arrange your own secret meeting if you want, and don't tell anyone about it. And that's up to you if you want to go to Davos or not. We'll have to find out whether people are up for Davos or whether it sounds scary and weird.
So just still staying on your relationship with, your association with the Clintons. You were part of the ramp up or the startup of the Clinton Global Initiative and helping them and supporting that effort.
I would say very central to that. Yes.
And Mr. Epstein, was he part of the work around that, or just in support of you?
He supported me to help them, but then I think he may have tried to use that to insert himself in some way. That would not have surprised me at all. And I know that he was annoying. And sometimes I could catch him on the phone and he wouldn't always agree with what I wanted to do. And I was like, it's not your idea. I don't really care what you think. But that didn't go over so well.
And
I just want to say it wasn't my idea for his CGI.
It wasn't your, say it again?
It's not my idea. They had that idea before. I just helped bring key personnel.
You're saying the idea of President Clinton kind of having his own Davos.
I'm not owning. I didn't. That's not
understood.
Okay.
No,
I don't want anyone. I don't trying to elevate myself in any form of importance here.
No, understand.
Okay.
Did you go to Davos with President Clinton more than once, or just once?
I can't remember. Once for sure, and I think maybe twice, but I don't remember.
And you're not. I think you said you don't. You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island.
He absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that because there's no way he would have gone. I don't believe there's any way that he would have gone to the island had I not been there, because I don't believe he had an independent friendship, if you will, with Epstein. Did they speak? Did he go? Yes, but that's very different from going to spend time on night. And plus, the story as told is so patently absurd that I flew him in the helicopter. I am a helicopter pilot, that is true. But the notion of me flying an ex-president on a machine, that would terrify me. I would never even take that responsibility. Can you?
So Bill Clinton couldn't have gone on the island because she knows he wouldn't. And he went places with her. So he couldn't have gone there independently, which just is stupid. I wasn't a good enough friend of Jeffrey's. I was his friend. Jeffrey wasn't his big friend, so he couldn't have gone to the island. Stupid. And then the idea that she could have flown him to the island in a helicopter, which does make sense because she's a helicopter pilot and they bought a helicopter. If you remember from earlier, they bought a helicopter. The idea that she could have flown the helicopter, having bought one, is stupid as well, she says, because it was quite responsibility having the president in a helicopter. What if she crashed? She'd never live it down. No. What you said there, Ghislaine, is stupid and doesn't make any sense. The reason that Bill Clinton couldn't have ever gone on the island is because you were his friend. Is not a reason that he could have ever... he could have definitely gone on the island without you. That's possible. And could you have flown him there? Yes. You just explained how and why. The fact that you might have been worried in case you killed him and you doesn't change it that you could have done it.
Imagine. Yeah, no. No.
Did you ever go with President Clinton to any of Mr. Epstein's properties? New Mexico, Palm Beach, or in New York?
have no memory of him in any of those places.
When you were in London with President Clinton, did you ever go to your flat?
Hello, she didn't say no.
Memory of him in any of those places. I have no memory of him in any of those places.
I have no memory of him in any of those places. So if you present me with photographic evidence, I'm not lying, I just didn't remember. If you say no, he definitely didn't go. I do remember hanging around with Bill. I never took him there. He was never going there. And then it turns out that he did go there. You can get in trouble. So she's been really coy about that again. Which is weird because, you can't remember. She said I have no memory of him being there is equivalent to saying I can't remember. You can't remember if Bill Clinton, former president of America, who, as you say, goes around with a security detail, you can't remember if you saw him at your house. Okay, you had a few houses, but you can't remember if Bill Clinton ever came to your house. Oh my God. Like, this is so, it's so full of holes you could strain salad through it, isn't it?
When you were in London with President Clinton, did you ever go to your flat with him?
I don't think he did. I don't think so, because it's like you wouldn't even be able to carry your Secret Service with him. I don't think so. No.
Okay. Do you know? We talked a little.
Again, a laughing answer. He wouldn't have been able to get his Secret Service in the flat, so there's no way he could have gone in there. Yeah, but what if he went in there without the Secret Service to have sex with a minor, and then the Secret Service waited outside because they didn't want to go in and watch him having sex with the minor, did they? Or he didn't want them to do that. I'm just asking questions, Ghislaine, ones that they've not asked her, that she's not really answered. The answer to did Bill Clinton ever go in that flat is he can't take all his Secret Service in there. Like, what? This isn't a court. This is like a DOJ deposition, isn't it? She's given the opportunity to speak. They allow her to speak and they take what they can from it. And it got her moved from the bad prison into the good prison. But it's not exactly a masterclass in evading the questions, because I think in a real interrogation, like, then they might have pushed her harder on some of these answers, but it is what it is. You get what you get.
About the Duchess of York, about Sarah Ferguson yesterday. Did
No, it's Fergie. No, it's Fergie.
When's the last time you like?
Do you think Ghislaine's going to go and kick the shit out of Fergie? Do you think Ghislaine likes Fergie? Do you think Ghislaine's going to just like give her a load of shit in this interview now? Do you think Ghislaine's going to just open up on Fergie? I don't know if she's going to be like socialite, big friends with Fergie, or like got some egg on with Fergie. I bet Fergie's got the egg on with her, hasn't she? Oh, this is worse than that Meghan Markle.
When's the last time you saw her? Like, were you with her, or hang out with her, socializing with her in the 90s, 2000s, both?
She's, well, I had a, I don't know if she liked me very much. I think my friendship with her ex-husband, well, sometimes she really did like me, and sometimes she didn't. So maybe a frenemy. I don't know. It was always friendly when we were together, but I think that there was some latent hostility. And
is that something you've heard since everything came out, or along the?
Ooh, we were friends. We were friendly when we were together. There's latent hostility. So it's not you, Ghislaine, is it? You're a nice person. Frenemies. But Fergie's got the egg with you. Oh, I just felt, she was a bit off. Says Ghislaine Maxwell from her prison cell, having been convicted of trafficking minors. About royal Duchess Ferguson. Who we can all agree has been pretty hard done by, having been married to that shit Andrew. I mean, she's not so great herself, some people think about Fergie, do they? But, like, I think what Prince Andrew did was bad. Ghislaine detects some hostility. She's got a funny vibe from that Sarah Ferguson. So.
The way you felt that way.
No, that's how I felt. That is a characterization of myself. That's how I felt about her. I would never. I was always friendly with her. I've seen her many times, and she's also super close with other people who we're very good friends with in England. I think that she liked Mr. Epstein.
Why do you think that?
My female intuition.
Okay.
Discovery.
Oh,
The letter.
no, I don't remember it. Oh, well,
The lawyer just whispered in. The lawyer just said, "What about the discovery? Hey, the discovery." So something is in the discovery that's a fact. And then she said, "Oh, I don't remember that though. Like literally don't remember it. But it's a fact. It's in the discovery. So you're saying it. Remember? Oh yeah, but I don't remember that. I should be saying it. It's got confusing for her now. What she remembers and what's provable in the discovery."
my female intuition.
Okay.
Discovery.
Oh,
The letter.
no, I don't remember it. Oh, well, okay, I don't. It's possible that there's things. Well, I know it's not possible. I know that there is discovery, but I don't recall. But I think she had a thing for him.
Did there's some actors or some folks from Hollywood that I want to ask you about just to understand whether you knew them or Mr. Epstein knew them. Chris Tucker?
Yes.
How did you know Mr. Tucker?
I think only from that flight to Africa, but I do think that they met.
You say that flight to Africa, the one we were just talking about
Yes.
with President Clinton? So,
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
But I also think that they kept a little bit in touch, and I think they met, or I have a memory of him, maybe in LA. I don't know. I think they sort of loosely stayed in touch. I don't know. I don't know how to say that.
Do you know Mr. Tucker besides that flight?
No.
And do you know whether, when you say you think that they kept in touch, you mean you think that Mr. Epstein and Mr. Tucker?
They may have. I didn't, but he might have. I'm not sure.
Kevin Spacey?
I know him also from that same flight.
Aside from that flight, do you know him from any other thing?
No.
Naomi Campbell?
Yes, I do know Naomi, and I knew her before I met Mr. Epstein and the former President Clinton.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein separately knew Ms. Campbell?
I think he probably met her through me. That I imagine.
And so, for those three, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Spacey, and Ms. Campbell, did they ever travel to any of Mr. Epstein's properties, the island or New Mexico?
Not Mr. Tucker. Well, not to my knowledge, Mr. Tucker or Mr. Spacey. Naomi Campbell may have.
To where?
She may have gone. Well, she certainly. Well, I believe she visited him in Palm Beach, and I believe she may have gone to the island, and she may have gone to see his house in New York. Whether she went to New Mexico or Paris as well, maybe. They were friends or friendly.
Were you, what you just said she may have, were you on those trips?
I don't have any independent memory of that, so I'm not sure. I don't think so.
What's going on? I haven't heard about Naomi Campbell for years. Do you remember, like, I suppose most of you do, don't you? Like in the 90s and what have you, she was like this supermodel, and all this, all this supermodel stuff was going on, and Helena Christensen and these people, and like, there's a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell, Naomi Campbell. I thought Naomi Campbell was really tall. I suppose Donald Trump's supposed to be quite tall, isn't he? So Ghislaine Maxwell might be quite tall as well. And they're all there together with Donald Trump, and his hair's as orange as his face is now. Donald Trump, look, and Melania, his second wife. Is it his second wife or his third? I don't know, his other wife anyway, the current wife. There they all are together in this photograph from the past. I had no idea that Naomi Campbell was like involved in all of this. I know here's a picture of her with, I mean, I suppose there's pictures of people with people, but Naomi Campbell defends herself over ties to Epstein. I knew him. That's a picture of Weinstein, so they just used the wrong picture, but... Interesting that, again, Ghislaine Maxwell is prepared to throw Naomi Campbell, like, hard under the bus here. Isn't it? It's, like, interesting that. Like, maybe she's so, like, you know, maybe it's one of those, like, with all these photographs around, you know, maybe it's one of those where it's impossible to deny because there's so much photographic evidence. You know, maybe it's one of those. So, like, Naomi Campbell's in it now, so we're just going to, you know, throw Naomi around. It's kind of weird. Naomi Campbell, yeah.
Do you know...
Who'd have thought it?
Her relationship, her friendship, her... You're making me use your word.
Mm-hmm.
her friendship, whatever, with
Okay.
Mr. Epstein was independent of me.
Okay.
Oh, our friendship with him was independent of you, so you weren't her friend. She don't like Naomi Campbell. She's not a big fan. Big ups, Beth. Marple Maples is number 2. Marla Maples. Second one. He had 3 wives then, yeah?
But you also had a separate friendship with her
I did.
before you met Mr.
Oh, no,
Epstein.
she is a friend of hers. Just say it straight, Ghislaine.
I did.
Okay. Larry Summers, the former Secretary of the Treasury, do you know that person?
I did. Yes.
How?
I met Mr. Summers through Mr. Epstein.
And the same question, just generally time period, are you talking about early 2000s, 90s, after that?
I honestly really don't know. I did want to say something I forgot, that there was yesterday, you asked me about Mr. Epstein's properties. He had a rental in Boston as well, but not for very long, but it was another place that I had to put together. And I only went with him once, and he would go there independently of me. No, I would not go with him.
Was that in the 90s?
I think it was, yes.
Mr. Summers, do you know what his relationship was with Mr. Epstein, business, personal, both, or don't you know?
I think he spoke to Mr. Epstein about business a lot, but I think they were friends and friendly.
Do you know whether Mr. Summers ever traveled on Mr. Epstein's planes to any of the properties that Mr. Epstein owned?
He may have, but I don't think if he did, I was on any of the flights. I mean, there's another issue. I mean, I traveled so much that the flights just blur.
Understand. George Soros?
I don't think he knew him. I did, but I don't think he did.
How did you know Mr. Soros?
I was friends with his kids.
Which kids?
John and I can't think of his other child. I can't think. I've lost his name.
Alexander.
Who?
Alexander.
So I met him, but just socially, and he may not remember even having met me. I was excited to meet him.
When are you thinking? When would you have met him?
If I met him, I think it was either at an event or at his kids. It wouldn't have been at his house. An event, I think, or I think actually no, in the Hamptons I met him. He was staying at somebody's house, if my memory serves.
And what was your relationship? How did you know his kids?
I was out and about in New York a lot.
So
And
just socially?
Just socially, yes. And yeah, just socially, I think.
Do you know whether Mr. Soros or his kids ever traveled on Mr. Epstein's planes?
I don't think so.
And ever visit either the island or New Mexico or
No, I don't think
Paris? No. So we tried to identify names that have come up either publicly or in other lawsuits. Are there any names that you...
At this point, it seems like the DOJ is trying to assemble their own Epstein list by literally giving her a list of names and having her confirm or deny, and then asking her now for additional names. At the end of that, you will have a list of names. And she was saying that she was remembering them at night, scrabbling them down. And I was questioning as a joke, but, you know, I seriously question whether someone's feeding her these names overnight, she's writing them down, bringing them to the table. Because at the end of this process, it's about releasing the Epstein list. It's about the actual list. And I haven't done shows on it yet, but you all know that there's been a lot of obfuscation and first we've got the list and we're going to release the list and all the Democrats are on the list, and then we had a list but it's not really a list, and then we're not going to, you don't need to see the list, and you know, and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of messing about going on. So is this an attempt to create a second, what you might call an Epstein list, from the mouth of the one herself? The Maxwell list, call it the Maxwell list, this one. And once you've got that list at the end of this interview, Donald Trump's not on it. People don't tend to go back and listen to the 6 hours of the interview. I'm glad we did, because there's been some gold in it. If you haven't watched all the episodes, they're all on this channel. You can go back and watch them. They're fun. It's like this. And then the outcome, though, would be that she did an interview. There's a list. And then in the media in the future, when you say, like, oh, have you seen that Epstein list? You mean the one that she said about in the interview, or the old one that they were supposed to have in the government that they never released? And, you know, give it 10 years, give it 15, 20 years, it starts to muddy the water about the, you know, put two lists in the public space, call them both the Epstein list, the one that she did here, and the more you have that, the more difficult it is for, you know, in 10 years time, people to go back and say, did we ever get the facts about that list? You know, it muddies the water. So I think this is almost like a sort of, I don't know if it's a strategy by the DOJ to try and, you know, create their own list and then have it cross-checked. You know, if you won't give us the list, we'll write one and then we'll cross-check it and then we'll have a sort of list to go off. Or, you know, whether they've got the idea somewhere. I can't say it's her idea. Maybe it's a collaboration with the lawyers. You know, we don't know why this is. Like, I can't say for sure what conversations happened between whom to create this whole interview process in the first place. We assume it's got something to do with Donald Trump because he's the one that gets exonerated throughout the whole of it, and then she moves to that other prison. Like, you know, people feel it's something to do with Donald Trump, don't they? Like, this was like a plea bargain, not between her and the Department of Justice directly. You know, I'll give you more information on the case, you give me a cushy cell. You know, she's not actually grassing anyone up, is she? She's not actually rolling anyone into anything. She's just basically doing almost the opposite by saying Donald Trump's not involved here, Donald Trump's not involved here. Here's everything you know that's in the public domain already. Like, you're asking me, I'll only tell you it's a fact if you already know it. And any additional facts that you want to know, you know, something extra to get me out of prison, is just that Donald Trump hasn't done anything. He's completely... You know, so people seem to feel that this is some sort of trade-off. You know, she says that Donald Trump's innocent, he moves her into the cushy prison, and maybe later pardons her. But ultimately, what it's also serving to do, and this might be a clever subtext, like I said, is creating a second list that can then muddy the water of the first list. Are you cross-referencing the lists? Are there two lists? In years to come, do people remember this list they create? Does it ever become that? I don't know, but like, it just seems like now we're creating our own list. And I don't want, I mean, I'm interested in what she says, but what I would rather have is the actual list, rather than you tell me who you think should be on the list. Because you're the one that was convicted of doing this stuff. So, like, I don't really, you know, it's interesting to hear her opinion, but I want the list.
That come to mind that we've talked about a lot of names. There's some folks that you think we've forgotten to ask you about.
Well, you asked me about names, and I have some names, and I just want to give you some context for the names as well. So we talked about Elizabeth Johnson yesterday. Mm-hmm. She had a boyfriend, and he was Frederick Fekkai, the hairdresser, and he and Epstein were friendly, very friendly.
And then what time period are you talking about?
Well,
like 90s or 2000s or both?
I think the 2000s, actually, for that. You can date that because they were from when I think he probably knew Frederick before he dated Elizabeth, but...
And when you say they were very friendly, did they travel together?
I don't know if they traveled together, but I mean, Epstein didn't go out very much. Or, I mean, he did go out, but not... And sometimes if he did, I think he would go out and maybe see Frederick. And then there was, he had a bunch of guys that he would I would know that he would see or meet, but he really, I guess now I'm not so he had any friends. I don't know, but.
Okay, what other names?
Okay, so Henry Jarecki, who had an island near his. Henry was a financier. He was the guy who cornered the silver market back in the day.
He had an island in the Caribbean near
in the British Virgin Islands.
Okay.
And there was Branston's Island there. Now I know that there's an allegation that they met. So I think I remember that I went to Richard Branston's Island with Mr. Epstein, and maybe he went another time, but I wouldn't characterize.
All right, before we get on to Richard Branston, like Henry Jarecki, who made loads of money in silver investments, is so rich that he doesn't have a picture on Google. Have I got that right? Henry Jarecki. It came up with Jarecki, like it spelled its name for me. Nothing's coming up though. I'll just leave that there. I'll just leave that one there.
Richard Branson and him as friends, but he did go, and I think I went with him.
Battery 80%.
Do you know whether Mr. Branson ever came to Mr. Epstein's island?
If he did, I was not there.
Okay. Okay.
So, but it's possible. So,
Understood.
I wanted to.
Who else?
Marvin Minsky. He had a group of scientists that he was very, very friendly with, all centered around Harvard. So I remember him, Martin Novak, who's a mathematician, Stephen Jay Gould. I don't know if Stephen Jay Gould came through the Harvard angle, but I know that there was Epstein would have dinners at the house that I was tasked to organize. And the scientists were a very major component of that. They weren't social dinners as much as they were scientific. He would discuss. But if you were in the area of brain cognition, or he would invite them to the house, and they would come, all of them. Any name you can name, they would be there.
So let's talk about that relation, those associations or relationships he had with the mathematicians and with Harvard, and I think with MIT to some extent
For
as well.
sure, MIT.
Any name you could name, she suggests, which is a bit unfair because you're supposed to be naming the names, Ghislaine. Apparently anyone you can name from academia went there to talk brains with Jeffrey Epstein, which is a little bit of a worry, isn't it? Like a lot of a worry. And like earlier I was talking about investments. You talk about Microsoft, you talk about Silicon Valley, you talk about Bill Gates. Now you're talking about another area of like high-end thinking, like potentially they were talking about creating their own Davos. Like, where do these schemes ever go though? Like Jeffrey Epstein is not like an Elon Musk, is he? Like, he's not creating a series of autonomous robots or something. So what's his purpose for doing this? Like, and what does he achieve out of it? And what's he working on there? Or is it just getting them together so they have a party and then he does the blackmail on them? I don't know. Like, it's another weird angle, isn't it?
What from what you observed, what's the reason behind him having developing those ties with Harvard, with MIT, and with certain professors and others associated with those institutions?
Good question.
He really was profoundly interested in that area of science and in the brain, and if you were in Stephen Jay Gould or the major scientist on happiness, it came, I believe, from a genuine area of interest, not from anything.
And how did he?
Because conspiracy world are going to be like, oh, like he's into brains. It's all that adrenochrome or something, aren't they? They're going to be like, oh, conspiracies. And you know what? Isn't it more likely to just throw a conspiracy bone out there for them, see how they like this, if they're watching? Isn't it more likely that these rich people might be cloning themselves? Like, you could actually achieve that. with a few million quid these days, stem cells and stuff like that. You could clone your own body or someone else if you want. You could clone someone. Like, I don't know about like, you know, harvesting, like what they say in the conspiracy theories. I don't know about that, but like if I was a multimillionaire at like, you know, island level, like I could be making an army of clones, either of me or other people. They don't really go down that road too much, do they? Anyway, sorry.
How did he become friends with them? How was he able to spend time with them? Meaning, did he donate to the university and then they were kind of, it was mandatory fun for them, or did he have relations with them where he would, you know,
I don't know if
host them? Or
I don't know
what?
if the chicken or the egg came first.
Okay.
But when I met him first, I mean, he was already doing a lot of this stuff. This is not, I've read, so this is why I'm saying this. I was not responsible for this area of interest. I mean, I certainly, sorry, just to bounce a second before it slips my mind and I leave something out. There was an institute in New Mexico called, anyone? The Institute of, it's very famous. We're not talking Alamos. Anyway, all right, there's a very famous...
Oh, that's all right. It's just something that slipped her mind, I think, because she said anyone, and I thought, you can't really be asking them to answer your questions for you. Like, you can ask your lawyers, can't you? Like, what's the name of the place? What's the name? You can't be saying to the DOJ, yeah, you want me to name certain places and people. Do you have the name of those people? Again. Certain famous institute in New Mexico. I think this one did just slip her mind, though.
Institute in New Mexico, you can look it up.
But it does worry. Like, it's another, again, there's been these different, I could dig into this one a bit more, you know, and like list the names like the Eric Weinsteins and the, you know, whomever else is that go on the podcasts and the different people that might have been circulating at these parties, and like, you know, we could dig into that a bit more, and then the reasons for and whys. And I would be careful about, like, when she puts something so clearly and weightily on the table, first of all, it's already in the public domain, I would assume. And I would be careful about following her chain. Like, if there's something that is really bad that she doesn't want you to see, she's not going to dump it on the table, is she? So that you open up the conspiracy box and start digging around in that. So this might be a little bit of a distraction, and it might be that Jeffrey Epstein actually legit had an interest in, like, not just like, no, you know how this Joe Rogan podcast scene and all these, like, you know, people doing the talking, and, you know, like, Ghislaine Maxwell's a bit of a socialite. Like, she likes to mix, or she, in her youth, had mixed with princes and princesses and great and good and, you know, royalty and what have you, know, socialite, like a debutante or something. Don't know what you'd call it, but Epstein, like, you know, tech and thinking and like, I don't want to say education, but academia and, like, you know, this podcast vibe, guests, you know, these people, he could see that as his own, like, intellectual domain that he was interested in, and rather than getting a ticket to watch the Joe Rogan podcast, he might just, like, I mean, there are no tickets, but you know what I mean, like, he might have just said, right, I'll invite you and we'll have these parties and it's great fun. Like, it might not have been, like, it might literally have been his interest. Like, I can perceive that as being acceptable, and all the conspiracy stuff that could come from it and all the strange stuff. As I said, he wasn't like Elon Musk. Like, if Elon Musk was doing this, you'd say, what's he doing with Neuralink? What's he trying to do to you on X? You know, why is he gathering all this information from these people? And it might have been something like that, but you haven't seen Epstein directly involve himself in social manipulation. Like, you know, he's more about his private affairs, isn't he? So this is a big unpackable box, and there's probably a load of rabbit holes down it, and there's probably a load of conspiracy theories too. But and even if they did have, like, sex women come in and bad victims, you know, victims come in and do bad things to them, like, as, like, part of their dinner party, I don't know if this is, like, Epstein's, like I said, if she's put the box on the table and is so willing to talk about it, I think this might be a bit of a distraction from some other stuff that's happened, because there were some other things that have happened in the interview that have been some, like, maybe more problematic. And of course, this is a world as well that is nothing to, like, it's nothing to do with Donald Trump, it's nothing to do with, like, high finance, it's nothing to do with, like, there's a bunch, like, she mentioned this other guy who was so rich that he's got an island and he's not on Google. Well, like, you know, all these people are sort of, like, much lower down the social chain, aren't they? They work at a university, like, they're on some podcasts, they're eminent thinkers and they've got well-paying jobs in their fields and stuff, but they're not on the levels of the next level up of the elites, are they? And it is elitism, and it is all this stuff. I don't know, like it's somewhere in the middle. But like I said, I think that might be a bit of a safe space that she's like, she doesn't feel that she's worried about talking about or opening up the door to. So it wouldn't be the first rabbit hole that I'm intending to investigate. But yeah, she's thrown it there on the table.
It'll come to you the minute you put it in your computer. And there had some of the biggest brains ever. That relationship came through me. So that's me. And that is because my father was one of the major scientific, my family fortune, when I had one, came from scientific publishing. And when it started from the thing that you were asking me yesterday, my father was in the Second World War, I told you, and he won the Military Cross, and then he actually was part of intelligence back in the war, and his...
So now it's a massive worry because it's a way of manipulating the populace, because if you're in charge of the scientific publishing and you're gathering the great and the good of science together to decide what is and isn't science and what will and won't be, like, you know, published and financed, it's suddenly become a huge problem. Like, connected to the government in some way, like, not directly from Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy, but isn't that the sort of thing that Bobby Kennedy's, like, would be interested in? Having a bit of an arm in, a finger in the pie. Oh my God. Because before, it was just like a load of podcasters having a big chat about, you know, what goes on in your brain and whatever. But now it's like the people who control scientific literature. And it goes back to her dad. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. I remember I've seen this in a documentary. She's right. The publishing of scientific papers was something that he was involved in some way financially. Great.
Job was to interrogate German scientists and prisoners of war. And then that parlayed into a business with Springer Verlag, and then into Pergamon Press, which was the scientific journals business.
She's saying that in the war they took the prisoners, and some of them were scientists, and then we sort of, like, you know, used them for ourselves. But she's talking about some, like, you know, some stuff that isn't going to be as straightforward as she's explaining it, for sure, because it's Robert Maxwell.
And he had an interest. He believed that its knowledge is what would prevent war, and the biggest scientific discoveries, well, not all of them, but many of them are coming from the Eastern Bloc, and that's how we have the relationship with Santa Fe Institute and Murray Gell-Mann specifically. And I introduced Epstein to Murray Gell-Mann. Sorry,
This is the Santa Fe Institute?
Yes, thank you. And Murray Gell-Mann was there, and Murray Gell-Mann and Epstein got along very, very well. And he was the man of the block.
So do you know whether, so when you meet Mr. Epstein in the early 90s, continuing on, so not what he had done before, why do you think, from what you saw or what you heard, he had the relationship, or wanted to have the relationships that he had with Harvard and with MIT?
So I think that may have come with Wexner. I'm not sure, but that's something that I think that Wexner maybe had a relationship with Harvard, and that he used that relationship to, I believe he funded a lot. And if he didn't, that his clients, of which Wexner obviously was one, would fund, and he would then arrange the fund, or organize the fund, or...
We'll take a break in a minute, but just to kind of set us up for what we're going to talk about next. We talked yesterday morning about Mr. Epstein's kind of business and how...
I like the way they do this. Like, so we're going to take a break. So just so you know what we're going to have to come and talk about next, so you can get together with your lawyers and have all the answers ready, which is fine, I suppose, because, you know, we want to hear your answers. And it's not an interrogation. Like, it's not like they're doing good cop, bad cop and trying to catch her off guard and stuff. So they're going to give her the question in advance. But a number of times we've been listening to this through. Yeah, a number of times they've asked her a question. It's been quite a difficult question. And then she said, and then they said, let's take a break, and then we'll come back to this one. And then when they came back, they didn't actually directly address it. There was one earlier, there was actually quite an important one about who was on the island. And I don't remember them directly, like, getting into the weeds on that. It felt like what happened was in the break they had a discussion with the lawyers, and then they agreed to maybe not go down that line of questioning, sort of thing. You know, and whether these breaks are clearly in this one, it's probably just in the flow of play. You know, they need to have their lunch, but you don't know because we can't see the room whether like the lawyer is putting their hand up and saying like, you know, time for a break, time out, or anything like that. And it gives Ghislaine the ability to not only prepare the answers, but like I said, you know, outside of it, to maybe even petition the lawyers to talk to I don't know what conversations happen in the break. And I suppose, you know, that legally, you know, again, it's like she's not like a suspect. It's not like, you know, I said, like, is it a grey area where they could talk, you know, legally even in the break, you know, off the record, so to speak? Wouldn't be that bad, would it, if they had a little chat? I don't know. Maybe it's really bad. But yeah, so she's going to take a break. They're going to ask, they're going to set us up, and they're going to set us up for our next episode as well. So let's see what they've got to say.
He had money. Did he seem to live beyond his means as far as what he was making? So did you ever get the sense while you were with him that it was suspicious or curious how he was able to have the funds to, you know, buy, you know, 2 planes, you know, an island, New Mexico, you know, the ranch, almost unlimited funds?
You said it perfectly. I thought it was astonishing, but I didn't have any reason to believe that it came from anything nefarious. I saw him work. I never saw him really do anything other than be on the phone. There's that. And he had a lot of meetings, but he had a lot of accounts. And he dealt with pretty much every financier that you could care to mention. And if I could have access to the names, I'd be able to tell you which ones you were. I just don't remember them all. But in every bank, Goldman, Lehman, all of them, to my mind anyway. And most of the major businessmen at that time, he was in the Council of Foreign Relations. So you had access. That's an extraordinary list of people. It just is. And then you asked me about his business. So I thought about it last night, how to try and explain what it was. And I think the best thing is to focus only on Wexner's business. So I was present for some of their meetings in some of their business. And I listened. And so things that I personally recollect and I know I heard was that he would, when I told you yesterday, I think that he would, no detail was too small, so he would do the contracts with the staff, I think. And I saw that myself. And he also organized all the trusts for all the children. So if Wexner had kids, and if he did have children. So every time there was a child, he would create a trust for that child. And these were complex financial structures that would contain stocks of the various businesses. He restructured, when I was there, Wexner's business in its entirety, as I recollect. And then not only that, but there were business interests. So Wexner owned or built or designed, or I don't quite know how to characterize it, but New Albany, which is a center outside of Ohio, Columbus, Ohio specifically. And he built, I remember this conversation, he built himself a very large house, like truly enormous, and it's one of the biggest private homes I've ever been to. And he built all the houses around him, and I'm like, this is so random, why would you do that? And he said to me, well, because I want to make sure that the people around me are my friends. I want my friends around me and my neighbors. And I was like, well, whatever, okay. You know, I've been around enormous wealth my whole life, and I've like, at some point I'm just like, okay, whatever, I get it. And so that's what he did. But Epstein ran New Albany, which included a country club and a golf club and I mean, gosh, your boss is one of the all-time great, you know, businessmen in this area. You know what that is, and he certainly does. So there'd be that, and there was a business that Epstein, well, he told me he owned it. Of course, I can't say that for sure because I don't know, but it's a sports thing. Riddell, is that a business? Riddell's? I thought about it last night. It's red and it had hats, helmets. Riddell's?
Rydell?
Rydell. Yeah, Rydell's.
Okay.
Now, how he owned that, well, he told me he owned it. But how he owned that, but that was before I think I came in and he had it. Or he said he did.
Got it.
And he had other businesses. I know this notion that he did nothing and he just was a grifter and whatnot. Okay, I'm not going to say that's not true, but it's not what I saw and it's not what I believe is true. Not because it couldn't have been that he didn't grift or whatever the word is of people, but I saw what I thought looked like real work.
Well, why don't we take a break? Okay.
Thank you. Right, the time is now 10:35.
Okay, that's a good place for us to pause. 5 hours, 9 minutes. We've got another hour of this, another show tomorrow. And we'll conclude. They didn't actually leave us on a cliffhanger like they did last time. She talked extensively then about this particular set of business interests and why that made Epstein seem infinitely wealthy. It's not even a bad, that's the one thing out of all of it so far that seemed legit. He was doing all these business deals and I thought he had loads of money. Right, fair enough. She was talking circles. Yeah, she was like, what she did was she took an answer that was supposed to be more general, like how, and she didn't even have to say much, but she left it's like, it almost felt like actually that before we finish for the day, this is something I'm supposed to have said, and we haven't come across it in the thing, but I'm going to fucking say it now. And she explained about particular businesses, particular person, like going back quite a long way as well. Like she gave a load of particular details. Again, it's one of those where if she's prepared to put it all on the table like that, is that in someone else's interests that we follow that up? Is there something she's sort of pointing toward and for whose benefit and why? Because that was all voluntary from her, wasn't it? In order for me to explain how I believed Jeffrey was wealthy, let me give you some actual specifics on a particular person. Why is she saying grift? It's a thing, isn't it? It describes a thing. Yeah. Again, another word that she brought to the table that she suggested other people are saying, but she brought it to the table. And Donald Trump, hardly mentioned again, hardly mentioned. Even in that bit where they talked about all those other famous people, and when I went to the pictures, there were pictures of them together with Donald Trump and those famous people. Yeah. It's convenient. Good old Ghislaine. Now hold on, Ghislaine. Good old Ghislaine. So, yeah, I will adjourn. Court is adjourned and we will reconvene tomorrow at approximately 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening in the UK. Same sort of time as this one. If you've enjoyed it, hit the like. And I'll see you anon. It's now officially autumn, so I've got Halloween now. I've put it up in this stream, so it will. If you're watching this later on in the year or some other time and you think like, well, because you've seen it earlier at the start of the stream, but it's not. I'm not trying to make a statement about anything with the skeleton. It's just. You be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty. And that's the end of it. That's just the end of it. See you tomorrow. Thank you.